Sup, chat? Sup, chat? Happy Mushoku Mondays, everybody. Welcome back to yet another trek through the Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation novel series. We are on Paul Gaiden, part 6. I'm going to start losing count of the actual parts that we're at. I think it's part 6. Part 6 of Paul Gaiden, going off into the adventure arc. And yes, we've just got the formation of the Fangs of the Black Wolves. We haven't called it that yet. We're still Lord of Judgment, because we can't give up the damn name Lord of Judgment. I'm not sure why that gets me as giggly as it does. Giggly. But yes, thank you guys so much for dropping by for the premiere. Hey chat, hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday after Mushoku Monday. And yes, hi to everybody that comes by later for the VOD. You guys aren't bad people. You're busy. I know. You don't want to be here for my premiere. I'm joking. Anyways, greatly appreciate you guys' support, your kind words, all that stuff. It means a great deal to me. And yes, as per usual, greatly appreciate everybody that support channel monetarily through Patreon, tips, links, super thanks, memberships, all that stuff. It means a great deal to me. Last week we had Rose Moise with a super and Orsic Cultist with 18 months. Thank you. But yes, with that said, I think we just jump right into it. I don't really have much left over from last week. Again, it was just kind of a adventure time. A little bit of a growth in Paul's character. I really do think this idea of him sort of slowly getting away from that very selfish nature and getting more... He becoming an adventurer. He's actually realizing, oh yeah, I need somebody that can cover my back. I think there was a crucial point in last week that I didn't really jump on, but there was that moment where suddenly they go, hey, that girl over there's pretty hot. Why don't you have her join? And he's like, no, she doesn't handle her sword well. Like, she's not taking care of her sword. I don't think she can have my back. And it's like, oh, mind blown moment of like, oh my gosh, Paul doesn't go after, okay, she's just cute, let's take her. No, I need somebody to cover my back. Okay, Elise, she's not really my type. I'm not sure why, but we'll choose her instead. She's cute, so we'll just choose her instead. It is a massive growth point for him, but I'm going to curious how we're going to get further in here, getting into Ghislaine joining, exactly how that's going to play in the dynamics, all that stuff. And of course, hopefully by this Mushoku Monday, get into Zenith. I was really thinking the last segment was going to be specifically just Paul is now retired and he is living in Buena, but spoilers, I snooped at the titles of the chapters in that segment. It does look like it's more kind of the later part of that chapter. So it looks like we're going to have quite a bit of adventuring with Zenith, which is good. But let's just jump into it. Starting things off with chapter 16. An hour later. Phew, I'm full. The meat and the soup were delicious. That's all well and good, but can't you at least tell me your name? You were so busy stuffing your mouth, you couldn't even get a word out. Oh, I haven't told you my name yet. I'm Ghislaine. I'm pretty much an adventurer. Pretty much an adventurer? Some people call me an adventurer. I just slash things. They die. Ghislaine, could you be the Black Wolf? I don't know that I ever made that connection. I know I'm stupid. I don't think I ever made that connection that they may have named their entire group after Ghislaine? Question mark? I don't think they ever talked about how they actually made the name Fangs the Black Wolf. Again, hopefully one that was supervised by Refugin. Geese reacted when he heard Ghislaine's name. Do you know her? Only by name. I hear she's pretty good. Ghislaine, you're a swordswoman by the looks of it. But anyways, what do you mean by pretty much? You're a registered adventurer, right? I traveled to better understand the world. My master told me that if I wanted to travel, I would have to be an adventurer. So I became one. Very simple. He said I had to do it, so I did it. I see. So it's just a title, but it's only for the sake of it. No wonder you were hungry and passed out. A real adventurer wouldn't make such a fool of herself. Paul laughed, and Ghislaine looked away awkwardly. I couldn't buy food. I didn't have any money. That's exactly why you use your title as an adventurer, isn't it? If you get paid for work, you'll have enough money to eat, right? I accepted a request. I was asked to join a party. We defeated a monster, and we received our reward. If it's a request that involves fighting a monster, then the reward should have been reasonable. What did you do with your money? She got swindled out of it. She probably got swindled out of it. It was gone after one meal. She got swindled out of it. You didn't have a policy to save enough money to last a day with? Policy? What's that? And which was more valuable? A large copper coin or one copper coin? Yeah, she probably paid with a large copper coin. They're like, okay, sure. Thanks for your contribution. Ghislaine asked with a serious face, and Paul and the others all had the same suspicion. Ghislaine, what rank request did you accept, and how much money did you get? I'm sure. Hearing Ghislaine's reply, the premonition held by everyone in the party became a certainty. Ghislaine, you got ripped off. What? I'd be willing to pay you 10 times what you were getting paid. Unless you say you didn't take part in the battle, or you were useless. But that wasn't the case for you, was it? I cut the most. She did the most, but she didn't know what she was getting paid. Then you were cheated after all. You must be a very good-natured person, or a complete moron to not notice that. I mean, at this point, I would assume that she's very good-natured. I would assume at this point, gotten rid of a lot of that feralness that she had, unless there's something, unless somebody's in danger, like the whole situation with her in the conflict zone. She's gotten herself tamed down by her experiences being trained. So she's not a moron. She's just not informed. She's just not informed. Ghislaine froze, as if in shock.
It's not the first time you've been taken advantage of, it seems.
If you're on the road, you don't have to worry about the aftermath, do you? You get cheated, and then you get kicked out of the party. I suppose this was a repeat occurrence. Stop that. Don't look at me like that. Ghislaine stood up, perhaps uncomfortable with a genuine warm stare. Thanks for your help. I'm going to. What? You're leaving already? If you're broke, you don't have a place to stay, do you? Why don't you stay here? I don't want to get any further in debt to you. You seem to be in a hurry. Is there somewhere you want to go? A labyrinth. Paul's eyes widen at Ghislaine's word. How convenient that she happens to be going to the labyrinth too. She's probably going there to make money. By labyrinth, do you mean the labyrinth in the jungle area up ahead? Yes. You're not even in a party. And you're passed out before you got there. So going to labyrinth by yourself is like throwing away your life, right? Don't underestimate me. I'm not that weak. All this recklessness and foolhardy attitude, doesn't it remind you of Paul? Ah, yes! No wonder he can't form a party. Shut up. Leave me out of it. After barking at Geese and Elise, Paul turned to Ghislaine. Anyways, Ghislaine, you better stay here after all. What? We're going to that labyrinth too. So why don't we just go together? Why don't you join a party with other adventurers? Paul had seen many swordsmen. As soon as he saw Ghislaine, he knew that she was in a class of her own. Yeah, Ghislaine's the type of build that immediately when you see it, she's toned. She knows what she's doing. She's got that aura about her. I mean, to be honest, somebody like Elise, she's definitely the type that when you see her, it's like she looks like a prettied up adventurer. Like she just put an armor on. Like she looks like a princess who ran away from her house, threw on some armor, and just is strutting around. She doesn't look like an adventurer. Talhan's got it, but that's the nature of a dwarf. Geese definitely looks the nature of a thief. Not strong at all. Ghislaine, one look. This chick's gonna destroy something. This chick can destroy something. The more skilled swordsmen we have, Paul thought, the more we can work together, and our party will be stronger. Very sound logic. As a leader who brought about the tactical aspects, and as a man who simply responded to Ghislaine, Paul offered to recruit her. You guys have taken care of me, but that's not what this is about. I won't join your party. I can conquer the labyrinth by myself. What is she having to prove something? She had to prove something to somebody? I don't think it's that easy. Thanks for your help. Ghislaine said that much and walked away without looking back once. They're gonna have to find her in there. She's gone.
Do we go after her?
She doesn't seem the type that wants to listen to anything we have to say right now. Besides, it's not a good idea to move around that much at night. Whatever the case is, we have an early start tomorrow. Let's get some rest. I mean, that's a good logical choice there. She's gonna go on her own. She looks like she's capable. So let's just get that rest and stick to the plan. Just a little earlier. Chapter 17. There were ruins that were turned into a labyrinth in the jungle area. The party of adventurers, Lord of Judgment, left the town based on the information obtained by Geese and arrived at the entrance of the labyrinth that day. As soon as they stepped inside, Paul and the others noticed something unusual. Monster carcasses.
They're all cut up. The cuts are clean and precise.
I wonder if Ghislaine did this. Who else would have done it? But she's pretty strong. The monsters had been cut down with a single cut each time, and Paul, as a swordsman, was impressed. Seems like she's pretty good at saying big things about being able to conquer a labyrinth by herself.
Don't tell me Ghislaine has taken out every monster that come after her.
Maybe. There's some carcasses along the road. Does she have bottomless physical strength? No. No one's without limits. It's my first time in a labyrinth. I think it's better to proceed with caution, but we better hurry ahead. For Ghislaine's sake? We can't leave her alone, can we? She's such a beautiful woman. Has a nice ass. I'm not stupid, but there is a side of me that was kind of like, Paul's being a good leader. Again, he did choose to recruit a female at the end there, and it ended up turning into Elise, and that was just to have a flower in the party, but there's a side of me that's like, oh, he wants to look after the best of She's got a nice I get the mental image of Rudy as oh, you really are something. It was like that after all. Don't tell me that's why you invited her to the party. Am I wrong? That's an important thing to consider, isn't it? You are a man without senses of propriety. That's, again, big statement from Eloise. As if you were one to talk, Paul and the others carried on as usual, so much so that it was hard to believe they were taking on a labyrinth for the first time. They had no worries. Paul stopped talking for a while and looked around at all their faces. All right, let's go. With Ghislaine ahead of them, there was very few monsters to attack Paul and the others. Well, as one would expect, Paul thought, the path isn't completely clear. He cut down the compound-eyed monster that approached him from the front. At the same time, magic flew left and right of Paul and attacked the group of monsters that were camped out in front of him.
Huh? Oops. So this is how it's gonna be.
There aren't many of them, and it shouldn't take too long to get to the deepest part. The traps have all been triggered. That was one question I had. I had one question as if this labyrinth had traps. Typically, labyrinths have traps. With the teleportation labyrinth, it was mostly all teleportation traps. But I was expecting there to be traps and that Geese would be leading them. It doesn't seem like he's up in the front. But, yeah, technically, Ghislaine just, like, marching through all the traps. There's, like, arrows flying at her. They're just kind of, yeah, doesn't care.
The traps have all been triggered. That's it. Most of the people who went before have been caught in them.
Paul thought, Ghislaine. I think we better hurry. There was a minute there I was thinking, okay, yeah, some other party members, other groups have gone. No, it's all Ghislaine. I think we better hurry up. Paul fought an attacker, while Eloise was a solid vanguard. Talhan would attack from behind with magic. Paul and his team's tactics were simple. For a party full of talented individuals who excelled at individual play, however, the simple division of roles had a great effect. Yeah, I think if they keep to a simple setup, even if they're all technically people that are used to kind of going solo, it'll actually work. It's just really kind of synchronizing your attacks so that you don't hit each other. While Geese kept an eye on traps, Paul and his party continued to advance through the labyrinth, reaching the deepest part at a surprisingly fast pace.
What's the matter? You suddenly got all quiet. You're not scared, are you?
Of course not. But from now on, it's not going to be as easy as before. There's a guardian protecting the mana crystal. It may be a more troublesome monster than the one at the site of the holy sword.
Shall we wait and see, or shall we go and battle ready?
It depends on Ghislaine. Eloise. Yes, I understand. Depending on Ghislaine's situation, we may have to rescue her. I hope her injuries are not as bad that we can't treat them.
Whatever the case, you guys need to focus on the monsters. I'll make sure there's no traps or anything like that.
Right, I guess I don't need to tell you that. All right, let's go. When Paul and the others stepped inside the innermost part of the labyrinth, they found themselves in a wide open space. Perhaps because it was in the middle of the dense forest, ivy grew from the cracks in the walls and ceiling, and moss grew on the ground. In this surprisingly damp space, Ghislaine was engaged in a battle with a giant snake monster.
Oh, that's a red hood cobra.
Do you know it?
It's a dangerous A-rank monster that lives on the demon continent.
Everything's coming from the demon continent. Yeah, I think the red hood cobra was the one that was in the petrified forest, question mark? That thing was beefy. And again, yeah, I remember it being an A rank. I don't think it was S rank, but yeah, I think it was an A rank. Interesting how they're kind of describing this labyrinth. Again, typically what we've had labyrinths be is they're usually like tunnels and whatnot underground that has formed to labyrinths, and they kind of was describing this as almost like a forest that turned into it. And now here we're kind of describing it as having sort of a ceiling and everything else. I'm always whenever it comes to the labyrinth stuff, I eat it up. I'm such a labyrinth nerd when it comes to this series. Again, there was so many labyrinths in the original series that I was really hoping they'd get into. Hopefully some stuff that they can get into at the side chapters. We'll have the bit where Rudius goes into the Hell's Labyrinth along with all of his wives. Of course, I think they kind of implied that the Hell Labyrinth should be gone at this point, right? I guess they didn't. If they didn't remove the crystal, I guess it would probably make a new guardian. I don't know. I forget about that whole segment. The Red Hood Cobra was huge, and its entire body was covered in hard scales that were resistant to fire. It was also extremely agile and was dodging Ghislaine's attacks.
Fire magic is useless, and watch out for the fangs.
Well, duh. Snake fangs are poisonous. That's all we need to know for right now. Paul looked at each member's face, then raised his sword. He swiftly launched into a run and jumped at the monster. His sword swung down. Paul's blade reached the Red Hood Cobra and deflected off. What? The sword bounced off the scales. Paul put strength into the hand that was gripping the hilt. If he didn't, the sword would recoil, and it would fall out of his hand, and he would have dropped it. It's damn tough. Hey, what are you doing? It's my prey. She gonna attack him. Hey, don't give me that crap. You've been struggling here. No, I haven't. It was obvious to everyone that she was bluffing. She had broken through on her own, Paul thought, and come all the way here. How could she not be exhausted? The Cobra was already agile, and Ghislaine was slowed by exhaustion and clearly struggling against it.
Still Ganon!
The monster deftly moved its huge body to dodge Talhan's attack from behind. The Cobra changed its target to Talhan and attacked him, but Eloise swung her estoc as if aiming at that point. Hey, get out of my way. Do you really have time to complain? It's my prey. Ghislaine barked at Paul and the others and headed towards the cobra. Her swordsmanship was so refined that it was obvious to anyone who saw it. Sword god style, Paul thought. And she's pretty strong in it too. Dang, I didn't actually think about that. I would assume that she's much higher in sword god style and that she might actually teach him a lot of things. She's more skillful than any other sword god style user I've seen. Ghislaine was a second swordswoman Paul had met who he thought was stronger than himself. Nice. Again, technically at this point, the only other swordsman that he would deem as being stronger than him is going to be Rada. They never really implied exactly what the skill level was of the sword god trainer at home or the water god style trainer that was at his school. It didn't seem like he could beat any of the two of them, but the assumption here is that he probably figures at my current skill, I could probably beat them. One was, needless to say, Rada, the water god. She and him never fought shoulder to shoulder, but he only got beaten one-sidedly. Yep. Fighting with a swordsman stronger than me, Paul thought, and the opponent is a powerful monster. This is fun. He's getting into it. Hell yeah. Without knowing it, Paul laughed. The cobra lunged at Paul. He offended the cobra. He flew backwards to dodge it, and its poisonous fangs dug into the ground, melting the surface. Ha! His scales may be hard, Paul thought, but his eyes must be soft. He swung his sword at them, but it didn't reach. Ghislaine was ahead of the monster as it dodged. Did she read its moves, Paul thought? Ghislaine slashed her sword, but the red hood cobra shook its head and deflected the tip of her sword. Ghislaine, step in further. Don't tell me what to do. Just listen. As you normally are, you could have gouged its eye out with a single blow, but now you're exhausted, so you're holding back. We'll try it again, and you'll have another go at him. And this time, you're gonna have to go deeper to cut its head off. What the hell? Why are you talking to me like that? I want to conquer this labyrinth too. I need your power to defeat this thing. Because they were swordsmen that studied the same style, they could see their opponent's ability more clearly. So, lend me your power. Ghislaine looked at Paul hesitantly. For being a talented person, she would never have thought to rely on anyone or cooperate with anyone before. I know, because I was like that too, Paul thought. I mean, there was a side of me that thought during this part, he's kind of clever in the idea that he's not saying, I want to take this and I want to take what you want here, take your kill. It's more of an, hey, I'll facilitate you being able to defeat it. I'll give you an opening so you can take it down. It's not necessarily stealing the kill, it's giving her the chance to take it. But this is more shifting it to her and me are alike. I'm much like her. I know how she's thinking. She's thinking I'm a solo goer. I don't need anybody's help. Everybody else is below me. And now Paul is presented with somebody that's just like him. She's like me, looking at me who's weaker and saying, no, I don't need your help. I'm better than you. Just like the whole situation with Geese. He didn't like Geese because he was higher ranked than him, but weaker than him. I don't like this guy. I'm going to do this whole thing with him, whatever. But at some point he realized he can do so many things I can't do. He's actually helping us succeed with this where I would have failed. I acknowledge him. He sees Ghislaine is him. Very interesting route to take it. Only this one time. And I don't know how hard it is. Paul grinned at Ghislaine's reply. It's like, yeah, I know how to manipulate me. I know how to manipulate me. What, didn't I tell you earlier? I only asked for one thing. Take its head off. Yeah, okay. The quality of the technique, as well as Ghislaine's character, was suited for Vanguard. The movements of the party had changed. Paul, who had been moving around as an aggressive Vanguard, took up a position connecting the Vanguard and the rear guard, and became involved in a wide range of situations. Talhan, do it now.
Understood.
With Paul stepping away, Elenice was now able to concentrate on the rear guard protection and see more of her surroundings. Talhan was also firing magic more steadily. With Ghislaine in, everything was going the right direction. The perfect synchronization. The party comes together perfectly. Hurrah! Ghislaine, go! Oh, Ghislaine stepped in deep and flashed her sword. The head of the cobra, covered in hard scales, fell off. I did it. Yeah, you did it. We won. We did it. We beat the Guardian. This means we've conquered the labyrinth. Pachi, 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 pachi. Paul's first labyrinth. Pachi, 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 pachi. I mean, his experience of actually doing labyrinths was kind of interesting because it's not like it's ever said in the mainline series. I might be just forgetting. It never really got into the fact that Paul was doing a bunch of labyrinths back in the day. It just said that he was an S-rank adventurer, the S-rank Fangs of the Black Wolf. They were this really well-known party that took out lots of challenges. Not really that he was diving a bunch of labyrinths. But what I'm getting at is that confirming here, it could have been setting it there. Confirming it here really does give me that sense that This sort of shows why they were so good in the teleportation labyrinth. They had experience going in there. And yeah, that comes with really anything. Going in the ruins in general, you're going to get a sense of like a formation. But I think labyrinths are sort of an oddity because of the fact that there's so much magic enveloped with the environment. It's not just the monsters. You go down the street in this world, you might possibly run into a monster, and you're going to have to take it down. With a labyrinth, you're dealing with everything around you. It's the walls, it's the floor, everything. So having this experience here sort of does play into how well they did there. Even though they didn't have Ghislaine, the party members shouted in joy. Elise, Geese, and Talhan embraced each other, and Paul impulsively hugged Ghislaine, who was also by his side. Hey, we conquered the labyrinth. No average adventurer can do that. That's what we've done. There's no reason we shouldn't be happy about it. Dude, he was just trying to like, yeah, get her all excited. Yeah. And genuinely, he could be happy. I mean, I could see him genuinely be happy. Ghislaine didn't respond to Paul's word, but kept her mouth shut. Stop it. Paul's arm was twisted up. And almost the same time, he was hit in the jaw with a fist. With a fluid motion, Paul fell to the ground. She ticked her off. What the hell do you think you're doing? I've got the devil in me, Paul said. Paul held his hands, as if remembering the feeling of her well-trained, toned buttocks. As he lied on the ground, he went for a grope. Yeah, he wasn't doing that because he's happy. I take my statements back earlier. He's not genuinely excited about the fact of taking down the labyrinth. He just wanted to feel. What the hell are you doing, you? The members' gazes stung. Let's get on retrieving the mana crystal and the treasure.
Even at a cursory glance, the amount is enough to pay for itself, even if the 5 of us divide it equally.
Do I get the same amount?
Yeah, of course. We split the money equally to everyone. It's the leader's decision.
And the most meritorious of all is Ghislaine. I'm not formally in the party. And you still do that?
Needless to say, this is the right thing to do.
You guys are weird. Ghislaine's so used to being taken advantage of, she's completely out of her comfort zone. Wait. Again, it's like the Geese thing. 7-3. 50-50? Wait, no. I said I'll take the 3. No. It would have never been done. I don't have a right to keep that from you. You should be rewarded. I've never been treated this well before. Ghislaine's eyes looked as if they wanted to say something, but in the end, she didn't. Aww. Ghislaine joined the party. Come on. This woman isn't honest with herself, Paul thought. Hey, Ghislaine. Paul got up and faced Ghislaine, with his friends at his back. Don't tell me you're not an official member. We're all members now, aren't we? Huh? We need you, Ghislaine. With you, we can be stronger. That's why I've decided that I'm willing to change the name of the party if you'll join us. Huh? You're called the Black Wolf, right? In honor of that, the name of the party will be Fangs of the Black Wolf. Fangs of the Black Wolf. Everyone in the party accepted the name, and no one raised an objection. Again, I don't remember them ever calling her the Black Wolf. I'm going to feel really stupid if I go find out that that's what she was called. I don't think that they ever said that she was called the Black Wolf. But if that's true, that's really cool. If that's, again, truly how the name came to be, that's pretty cool. Because it almost, we might get into it in a minute, but it almost gives that sense of feeling of if Ghislaine's out here trying to prove something, if she's trying to show that she is strong, the idea here is to entice her with the idea that, hey, our party will be literally an embodiment of you. We are a tool of yours. We are the fangs of you. Let's go destroy things. Let's show the world by our name that the Black Wolf has these fangs, and it's very, very strong. It's a cool concept. It really does play into similar to what they were doing with Rudius's party with Regerd. Dead End. The whole idea there was to show a different side of Dead End. It's cool. And it's probably what they got this concept from, let's be honest. Plus, it gets rid of the Lord of Judgment crap. They get rid of that stupid name eventually.
I like it. Fangs of the Black Wolf.
Yes, it's much better than Lord of Judgment.
But where do the fangs come from?
That, of course, is in honor of the Red Hood Cobra. The first monster we have ever... Okay, never mind. I'm going to screw it up. Damn it. I had a better idea. My idea was better. That, of course, is in honor of the Red Hood Cobra. The first monster we ever teamed up to fight.
I see.
Everyone was in agreement. Ghislaine was puzzled by the warm atmosphere. Huh. Why do you speak to me like that? Well, of course, it's because I really want to work with you. So, Ghislaine, if you feel the same way, nod your head this time. Paul persuaded Ghislaine with a serious face. He looked at her with a desire to ask her to take his hand as he held out the one that held the sword, the one that was precious to him. A swordman offering his dominant hand. It was impossible for anyone as skilled as she was not to see the trust that put into it. That's very interesting. It makes perfect sense. Don't get me wrong. That, I guess, an interesting thing to go out of the way to kind of point out. The idea that if I swing with this is my dominant hand, and I swing with a sword, that this is the most treasured tool of my body. Of my entire body, this is the limb that is most treasured by me because it allows me to strike my foe. The moment I lose this arm, this hand, the moment I lose this, I am useless. I mean, they went into a little bit with Rada, in the idea that they were going to chop off her arms. And that was going to completely ruin every chance that she ever had at ever being a swordswoman. And somebody coming before her and sparing her arms was like sparing her life. Because if she lost those arms, she would probably be in a gutter somewhere and just slowly die and starve to death. Like I've mentioned several times, it gives me no sense in this world there's some sort of like, government aid that you get as a person with disability. You're probably left to a street corner peddling for money and then slowly dying. So Paul coming to Ghislaine right here shows that trust that I'm going to put my hand out to another warrior. A warrior that could probably take that hand away in a blink of an eye. That shows that trust, that ability to put that hand forward. It's a very, very interesting thing to point out. He could have easily reached out his left hand. Just out of habit. He chose to do that. Yeah. Make me one of you. Yeah. Ghislaine. Their hands clasped. Ghislaine's expression was soft. Paul pulled her hand and held it gently. I told you, we're partners now. Paul, what's your other hand doing? Damn it! He can't let it sit. Paul's such a dirtbag, dude. If I see some nice there, I'll always give it a rub. I see. Well, clench your teeth. It's better to be gracious and accept the fist. Paul's body flew through the air. Paul died. Yes, the other one was a doppelganger. The entire story from now on is just a fake Paul. Hey, at least the translation didn't say his body was blown off. At least the translation wasn't Paul's body was blown off. I really can't stand it. He deserves it.
I'm sure it won't be different in the future. I guess you could call it heroic, but amorous.
The mood was somewhat awkward, but whatever the case, it was a good place to start. I guess it kind of breaks the ice a little bit. Just a casual essay, just a casual essay thrown in there. On that day, Lord of Judgment disbanded. And I was going to say the party disbanded. That's right, they changed the name. Lord of Judgment was disbanded, and a newly formed party, the Fangs of the Black Wolf, had completed its first foray into a labyrinth. Cool. The forming of the Black Wolf is finally happening. Chapter 18. The party members had always excelled individually, but with the addition of Ghislaine, the Fangs of the Black Wolf rose the ranks at an alarming rate. By the time they had risen to A-rank adventurers, the Fangs of the Black Wolves had become well-known name amongst adventurers and non-adventurers alike. I was kind of curious to see at what point Zenith joins. I don't think they ever implied at what point they were as a party, but I was kind of curious if Zenith joined them and then they became S ranks, or if they were already S ranks when she joined. I'm going to assume they were probably A rank, because I think they were adventuring for a while, and maybe her being the healer sort of gave them that final piece of the puzzle they need to fight really strong things. They have a good formation, but they're lacking strong healers. Here's the booze. Keep them coming. The waiter boy has a cute face, don't you think? What do you mean? I'm not interested in men. Well, there's a confirmation from last week. There's a confirmation for Geese from last week. I was kind of questioning it. Like, it's not as if they ever went out of their way to say it. This meat is delicious. I like it. They have Paul's like wanting booze, probably wanting women too. Elise is looking for a target. Geese is like, what the hell are you guys doing? And then Ghislaine's like, food. Ghislaine just like food.
Yes, it's good with liquor. More drinks over here, please.
And of course, Talhan wants drinks. As a now famous party, the Fangs of the Black Wolves began to drink at the bar. The gazing from the customers in the surrounding tables began to turn at them. Paul and the others, however, didn't seem to be bothered by this, and were enjoying their drinks in a lively atmosphere. A-rank. We've come this far, Paul thought. Wield as many swords as you like. Hold as many women as you like. Drink as much booze as you like. Every day is fun. After all, adventurers are, above all else, free creatures. Which really does start to kind of pose the question right here, and starts to develop it right here again, because there's been some massive growth in Paul's character as he has been an adventurer. Yes, he still has a lot of the bad sides of himself. Again, just copping a fill like that. But we've seen that, again, that nature of himself being selfish has gone away. It's about my party now. It's about protecting your comrades at your side. It's about having some sort of push to something. And yes, he's absorbing this desire to be free. Again, back here when he first left his house, he was desiring to be free. But the problem is that being free doesn't pay for food. You have to beat up people and steal their money in order to survive. It's either doing that or going to get a job, which locks you down. Adventuring is the perfect thing for him because he's able to go out and do things, experience things, get stronger, and he's getting paid for it. People are paying me for beating up stuff? Hell yeah. It's the ultimate freedom for Paul. So it does kind of beg the question, will this writer going into Zenith joining, which we all know Zenith is the one that's going to tackle him down and lock him down to being a father and staying in some out in the boonies town. What is his mindset when that happens? It's already developing right here how much he will sacrifice for the sake of Zenith, really is what it is. So we'll see how it plays out. Paul looked around at the faces of his companions. Paul's heart leapt at the thought of continuing his adventures with his group. See, he's building it up. Hey, Paul, do you know what kind of requests we taking next? Oh, not at all. If it looks interesting, I'll take it. Whatever. Let's just go around the whole world and play around all we want. Play around? You sound like a child.
Seems like the only thing that's changed since we first met is your appearance.
He's still the same on the inside.
He hasn't changed too much, has he? He hasn't grown at all.
You guys, you say whatever you want about people. The vision that Paul spoke of was somehow passed over. But although no one spoke of it, all were convinced that the party would make it happen. Paul, 18 years old. Man, we're at 18 now. Paul, 18 years old, the boy who had run away from home at the age of 12, had grown up to be a fine young man. X to doubt. X to doubt. X to doubt. He's better. He's definitely improved. I mean, let's be honest. After what he did to Lilia, it's only uphill from here. After what he did to Lilia, it's only uphill from here. Episode 4. Obituary? What? What's going on? What? Chapter 19. Promoted to A-rank party, the Fangs of the Black Wolf was steadily making their name for themselves by completing different requests while moving from place to place. Oh, Paul's sword sliced through an assault dog's body, and the monster fell to the ground with a strangled cry. Shaking off the blood from his sword, Paul turned his attention to Ghislaine, who was positioned in front of him. Ghislaine, how's it going over there? No problems. I'm done. Thanks for your help. You work fast as usual. Paul was inwardly impressed by the beautiful swordsmanship. At Ghislaine's feet, a Terminator boar was dying. Talhan, we're done here too. There's more assault dogs than we expected. Well, they're no match for us. You didn't do anything. I almost said the same thing. You didn't do anything, Geese. Ow! Paul kicked Geese's butt as he approached, seeing Geese puffing out his chest with pride. The request this time was to defeat a Terminator boar that had been spotted in a nearby forest near the village. For the Fangs of the Black Wolf, it was a low-risk muster. However, the fact that leading in a large number of assault dogs increased the danger level, and they decided to accept the request. Yeah, I mean, that's always the aspect, and I think that was sort of an interesting thing they kind of got into a little bit, is that, yes, technically you can have a single threat. A good example is the insects, the ants, whatever they were called, that were on the Beggaret continent. It's like one of these things is super weak. What's the problem? There's a ton of them. It suddenly becomes like an SSS rank threat. Like these things will just chew into anything that comes in front of it. And then there's situations like, again, the succubuses or some of the creatures that were in the teleportation labyrinths where it's sort of a pack system. There's one that's sort of more cunning or intelligent that is sort of forming the group, commanding the group. It's not just simply, it's a C rank, thus the threat, no matter how many is a C rank threat. And the ward wasn't too shabby either, Paul thought. All right, the mission's accomplished. Let's get the hell out of here and go have a drink. After receiving their reward, the members of the Fangs of the Black Wolf, except for Ellen-Lise, went out to the bar. I have plans for the rest of the evening. If you interrupt me, I won't forgive you, you know. As soon as she came back to the town, she said that and disappeared.
Manhunting? Manhunting? You manhunting?
She's probably in bed with some guy right now, Paul thought. Having a good time. I'll go look for a nice girl later. With that in mind, Paul downed his drink in one gulp.
Phew. A drink after a hard day's of work is a special taste all on its own. You're a good drinker. I won't let you beat me. Come on, drink more. Hey, lady, bring in some more booze over here.
Yes, coming over. Oh, she's pretty cute, isn't she? Paul thought. As Paul was following the waitress, who answered his order with his eyes, he heard a chuckle from his side. What's with the...
Are you after that girl?
What if I am?
Don't do it. Don't do it. No way a pretty girl like that is gonna take you.
Oh, what? When Geese laughed, Paul's face twisted into a grimace. Geese seemed to find Paul making such a face amusing. He kept a smile on his face.
She's a well-respected poster girl for this town, you know? Look around you. All the guys at the bar are looking up to her. You think she's going to go someplace with a drunken adventurer who always orders alcohol when she can have her pick of the men?
Geese, you're literally egging him on. You're giving the opportunity for Paul to turn to you and say, challenge accepted. You don't know that. You and Talhan are the ones getting drunk, not me.
We're drinking at the same table. They think we're in the same boat.
But even so, can't say for sure it won't happen.
You want to bet that you and that girl are going to spend the night together?
Yeah, I'll do it. Again, challenge accepted. Paul took the obvious challenge. I know the winner, so what do you want to bet?
I bet on the reward. The winner gets the full amount of the loser's share. How's that?
I'm in. Yeah. Again, going to the whole joke about like everything is like, what did the man god tell him? Paul is going to have his eyes on a girl. Tell him that he won't get her. And you will get the share of all of his money. It's like he knows that Paul's going to fail. I'm in. Paul grinned and timed his call to the serving woman. She was smiling as she busily moved around the restaurant. She looks so young when she smiles, Paul thought, but I can't get enough of her body. I'll definitely hook up with her. As Paul was on a prickly mission, she brought drinks to the table at just the right moment. Well, thanks for waiting. Can I get you anything else? Bring me something to go along with my drink. Anything that will go with it. And when you finish work today, pardon? How about a drink afterwards? You and me, just the two of us. Damn, he's trying to put on that risk. Well, I appreciate the offer. I would rather you drop some money at our establishment than have a drink at another place. Oh, damn, Counter-Strike. She doing a counter with that one. Oh, I think I've been called for. I'll bring your food you ordered later. A customer service smile. The waitress maintained the smile and left the table with Paul and the others. ... Paul ... She had a counter. She used to this stuff. She's like the adventure guild lady. Like, oh yeah, there's plenty of other people. Yeah, kid, that's fine. Good for you. Game, set, match. Geese tapped Paul on the shoulder. He was beaming, unable to hide his joy at having won the bet. Not done yet. Maybe next time she'll bring us some food. I'll ask her out and she'll accept.
Don't go doing that, right? Don't you guys think so?
I don't know, but that girl doesn't seem interested in Paul. Even Ghislaine.
Paul, sometimes you have to give up. Just quietly concede defeat.
No, I'll never admit it. Paul was about to say, I'm definitely going to spend a night with that girl. Paul was about to continue when she let out a short scream. When he looked, he saw the waitress was entangled with a drunk man who was holding her arm. He was a large, strong man with the air of an adventurer. Well, opportunity to get. There's your opportunity to be the little, Prince Charming. I guess he's going to win in the end.
I'm telling you, there's enough money to go around, right? Hey, aren't I right?
Sir, you're drinking too much. Let go of my arm so I can bring you some water.
Shut up. I told you I'd play with you, but you're turning me down so casually.
Oh.
You're a waitress in a bar, but you're so stuck up. What kind of wench are you, eh?
She's too good for somebody like you.
Huh?
Paul stood behind the strong man and tipped over the liquor he was holding. The contents spit out with a clattering sound. The man, covered in liquid, did not seem to understand what happened at first, but his face turned red as he realized what was happening. You can't hit on a woman in the soaking wet outfit, can you? Get the hell out of here.
You think you can get away from doing that to me without paying for it?
The adventurer took his hand away from the waitress and grabbed Paul by the front of his shirt. Paul looked at him coldly and laughed through his nose. Do you know who you're grabbing at? Do you think you can get away with this for free?
That's fine. Let's take it outside.
Yeah, sure. I don't want any trouble in this place. Oh, huh? Oh, don't worry. A guy with this caliber won't be trouble for me. Paul talked to the woman with a relaxed expression on his face, and the man's face became more and more stern. Only a punk would take up this challenge so easily, right? Paul thought. Before the adventurer could start a rampage, Paul left the bar and waited for the man to follow him. It only took a moment for victory to be decided. Paul left the tavern and returned before anyone in the establishment had time to voice concern. Is it over already? I told you. The guy's no match for me. It's funny, because he really thought he could handle me. Fangs of the Black Wolf. Do you know? Of course I did. It's a famous party, and you're regulars. If you knew I was from the Fangs of Black Wolves, Paul thought, and you turned down the invitation, are you sure you don't have an eye for me? He's like, I'm famous. He's famous, and she doesn't accept me, but I'm famous, and she knows who I am, and I'm famous. Which does make me believe that even though he beat the crap out of this dude, she's still not going to go with him. There had been a number of women who had come to him just because they heard the name Fangs the Black Wolf. Not a few women flirted with him, whether they thought he had money or was simply because they liked strong men. In Paul's mind, he could still see himself losing the bet with Geese. I thought all the young, brawny adventurers were big, self-important guys. The sort who thinks there's an excess of women in the world, so they think it's okay to treat them roughly. What are you talking about, Paul thought. Working in a bar, I actually see many people like that. But you're different, aren't you? You saved me. Thank you so much. She thanked him with a smile, and it was a sound of everything snapping into place inside Paul. Paul took her hand and gently stroked the area where the man had held her. What? Oh, I can't forgive him for injuring such a pretty girl. I should have hurt him more. It's so red. It's so painful to see on such white skin. Paul kissed the reddened part on her hand, and her face turned bright red, as if he was saying, it's terrible to see you like this. When will you finish work today? It was the exact same words that Paul had used on her before, and had been shrugged off. Let me tend to your wounds. This injury and the one next to your heart from being frightened so. That's, The woman's gaze wandered, as if she was lost, but eventually she nodded with her bright red face. Please, take good care of me. The game has been decided, Paul thought. If you look at the table a short distance away, you would have seen Geese looking at Paul with a stunned face. The winner of the bet smiled with a blank look on his face. I thought this would be a learning thing. I hate it. I hate whenever Paul gets what he wants. I kind of want something to happen that pushes back on him. I'm trying to figure out what the heck this meaning is here. I guess there's an element here where he's realizing that not everything is a pushover, or possibly realizing that he himself was the guy that he beat up. I think that's what sort of it's saying here. What I'm talking about specifically is that she thanked him with a smile, and there was a sound of everything snapping into place inside Paul. He realized something. Then he went to being more gentle with her and talking about the pain that she has suffered. I kind of want to get a second translation of that line. What I think it's sort of saying here is that the guy that was being really rough with her earlier is the same for him. I'm that person. I thought that all brawny adventurers were big, self-important guys. That's Paul. The sort of think there's an excess of women in the world. That's Paul. There's tons of women out there. Gotta get them all. So they think it's okay to treat them roughly. Okay, I don't try to treat them roughly. Lilia. Paul, I think right here, it's clicking for him. Oh yeah, I should be more gentle. I should be more respectful. I should see that each woman is their own woman and they're not just tools. I guess that's where I'm thinking it's going. Probably not. We're talking Paul here. He doesn't, we're talking Paul here. But it's kind of a nice thing to sort of set up for possibly Zenith in the future. I think this could be something that sort of does at least nudge him more to be respectful, and thus when he does encounter Zenith, he'll go about it properly, which that could be. It could be this next chapter, boom, we go right into Zenith, and then he's going to have this thought process in mind. But it sort of indicated with the original series that it was Zenith who changed him, specifically Zenith. Chapter 20, the next day. Paul-san, it's almost dawn. Are you still going? Yeah. How about one last go, Paul's ears, which had been enjoying the woman's soft skin in the bed, picked up the sound of hurried footsteps and voices. That voices, Paul thought. There was a wild knocking at the door in the room. Paul, we know you're there. This woman. Don't tell me she's Paul's lover or... It's not like that, She's a member of my party. Paul, you better get out here quickly. You don't want to be dragged out. For f***'s sake. Paul scratched his head, said goodbye, and walked out. Hey, what are you guys doing here so early in the morning? What's this? What's the situation? The moment he opened the door, he saw the scene. Unhappy-looking Elise and Talhan, Ghislaine holding a noose, and Geese tied up at the end of the noose. Gambling. Is this finally where we start to get into Geese's gambling habits? Are we finally going to get into Geese's gambling habits? He just wasted everybody's money because he knew that he lost to Paul.
Paul, help me out, will you?
I'll wait until you tell me if I can help you out or not. The reason that you're in such a mess is because of something you did, isn't it? Yes, that's right. This man has done something unforgivable. Well, don't be so worked up. I mean, weren't you just shacking up with a guy?
I found it to be an emergency situation. So I woke her up and brought her over.
Uh-huh. We were having such an intense time, and we were interrupted. I see. That's why you're so angry. No, it's not. My anger is all against Geese. Paul pulled a face at Elise, who made no attempt to hide her indignation. Geese, Paul thought. Seriously, where the hell did you go wrong? For now, let's go somewhere calm and talk, okay? The leader's suggestion, which was tingled in confusion, was accepted by everyone, and the Fangs of the Black Wolf moved on, dragging Geese along with them. When they arrived at the inn room rented by the party, Geese was rolled on the floor. So, what happened? Called it. Called it. I called it.
He gambled away all the money from the party.
Huh? All of it. What about, we are a party of poor and penniless people right now.
All of it. All of it.
Although we have paid for our lodgings here in advance, we can't afford to pay anything else. At this rate, we're all going to end up bankrupt ourselves. Geese, for real? He looked down at the man who was rolling over and looked away quickly. Is this true?
Yesterday, after you were gone, I left the bar after drinking as much as I can. After that, I found a betting booth. I thought I could win. I figured I couldn't lose twice in the same night. I was drunk, and I felt burnt after losing my bet with you.
So you bet all the money the party has and went broke? Geese, tell us everything. There's more? Geese's shoulders jumped at Elisa's sharp voice. Dude, what the hell?
I've saddled us with a debt.
Oh, you... I heard when I tied him up. It's quite a lot of money, apparently. To repay the money, we need to do an A-rank mission, or 2, 3. I hear you have to take a lot of them. I like how, like, Ghislaine's way of mathematically equating the debt is to say that it seems like it's just many missions. We are in 3 A-rank missions of debt. I know it's a lot of work. No wonder you guys came storming in this morning. Paul sighed. Then Geese picked up his body from where he was lying and bowed his head vigorously.
I'm really sorry. I've blown all of our hard-earned money, and we're even in debt. If it goes on like this, I'll be chased by debt collectors, and I'll cause some trouble for everyone. If that happens, I'm going to...
Raise your head. Paul knelt on the floor and grabbed Geese by the shoulder to make him look up. What about the debt collectors? Don't be scared of them. We're the best team. There's no one who can beat us.
Paul!
I'm not sure I want to be chased by debt collectors. If they come while you're in the middle of taking a request, you'll be in trouble. Do you want me to cut him up? Ghislaine's like, you want me to kill him? Ghislaine, you want to kill him?
Don't do that. The guild will just look at us funny. They wouldn't care if it's an S-rank party. But if we're still an A-rank party, they'll give us no preferential treatment.
Damn, they implying there that if they're S rank, they can get away with murder? What the hell? I think they've implied that before. Like a little, there is a preferential treatment there. If you are a very influential, beneficial party, sure. So, for an S-rank party, we'll have no problem busting up debt collectors? Well, probably. They can turn a blind eye to some violations. Yeah. I mean, they sort of implied, like, just the idea of being an adventurer. It's not like they care. Like, there is an element there of, like, no matter what your background is kind of thing. Like, we don't ask really questions. That technically is a thing.
But there's no way we'll be able to get that promotion now. We'll have to take action.
I see. As expected, of the Fangs of Black Wolf, being penniless was not encouraging. While the members were in a heavy mood, Paul came up with a strange idea. Okay, let's go. Or 2. Just get the money and pay off the debt as soon as we can. Paul grinned wickedly as he cut the rope that tied up Geese, and then he smiled. Honestly, it was only a matter of time before we got into Geese's gambling habits. There's a side of me that almost wonders if possibly... You would think with Geese having a connection to the man god, and it's not as if the man god is going to visit on every single night. It's not like he's actively constantly using Geese. A lot of where it felt like Geese was being actively used by the man god, it was during when he was trying to create this, tragedy for Geese and to laugh at his misfortune. And then Geese went off to start doing adventuring and stuff like that. And I would assume that a lot of the time he was getting some advice, and that was to facilitate something else. He was being helped by the man god because the man god wanted him to kind of lead to ruin somebody else. And then when he joins, the Fangs of Black Wolf, I would assume at this point right here, he's probably just being with Paul. He's adventuring with Paul. To be honest, I don't think he's getting active advice from the man god. There's no reason that he would be. But there was a side of me that almost felt like a lot of his gambling were situations where he could have been getting help from the man god to win the bets. But if he's always losing, it's... Yeah, one side of it's is it for the sake of the man god to laugh at him for losing the gambling? Or is it just, this is just Geese? I think that's really what it is. I think this is just Geese. He likes to gamble. His entire life is a gamble. Let's be honest. I think there's an element where his gambling nature is facilitated by the fact that his entire life is a gamble. He's always gambling with his life. So it's not really the man god's doing. It's just that he's a failure. Chapter 21. In the center of the town, there was a tavern. It was a tavern for the wealthy, and for the past 6 months, it had been rented out by a party of adventurers. A B-rank party would never have been able to rent out the place, but the party was supported by nobility and had no financial difficulties. Oh, a guest for my esteemed self? Get away from me. I ain't meeting nobody today. The party leader's face was swollen, grim, and indignant. No wonder, last night, the man had been turned down by a woman and got knocked down with a single blow by a young man whose name he did not know. I wonder who that is. Next time I see you, I'll get angry. The moment the man spoke out his anger, the door of the bar had blown open. What the hell? While he was upset, a party member entering the tavern was blown away and slammed into the wall. Then a group of youngsters entered, all whom looked familiar. Yo, haven't seen you since yesterday. Hey, you bastard. What are you doing here? You said you had plenty of money, didn't you? I guess you weren't lying when you said that, and rented out a nice tavern. So what? What are you up to, dammit? I won't let my guard down like yesterday. I'm a B rank. Don't introduce yourself. I'm not interested in guys. Anyways, give me as much money as you have. What? What Paul and the Fangs of the Black Wolf did was nothing short of raid and robbery. But fortunately, the party they were dealing with had a reputation for being a party of ill repute. So it's still, again, we're going back to the early days of Paul, running around. They're just going to beat up bad people and take their money. Still from the thieves, the party had a bad reputation amongst the general public as they were greedy with money and did not take their requests seriously because they had so much money. Therefore, it was not reported that the Fangs of Black Wolves had committed such a robbery. But this case became known to the public as a mugging case. Today, I was screamed at by an adventurer whose eyes met mine at a guild. No wonder there's no one around here who doesn't know about it. Fangs of the Black Wolf is well known now, even though it's all infamy. Again, we just went back to Paul's early days, just beating up people and taking money.
A team of thugs who never even leave a blade of grass as they pass through, right?
That's just so rude. I like to be known as a good adventurer who achieved rank A in a short period of time and likes to bang men. And likes to eat men.
No two ways about it. After that mugging incident, our name will be known in a bad way, no matter what we do.
It's your damn fault, Geese. It's your damn fault, Geese. Don't act like you're not part of this. That's why I was against it. I didn't want to go in there and beat them up.
What does a woman who's the most violent of them all say?
I wasn't beaten. Ghislaine's like, I just beat him up. I'm strong.
You don't have to compete with me there.
Paul felt his heart warming as he watched his companions exchanging pleasant words with each other. I don't know how to say it, Paul thought, but this right here feels cozy. I'm not annoyed. I'm not empty. I'm rather content. Aw, it's a nice contrast to Paul when he was a nobleman, just being tortured by his life with his family. He had a lonely childhood. I like how I'm thinking about it. Just goes right into it. Just give it a second, Andrew. Give it a second. He had a lonely childhood, and without understanding the meaning of companionship, he set on a journey with a group of boys from the slums, unable to get along with his adopted family who lived by the sword. Is that what you call it? Adopted family? You call him and all them adopted family? He became an adventurer to escape from them. Now, Paul had strongly realized it. This is a place I've been looking for all my life, Paul thought. The Fangs of the Black Wolf continued to make great strides. Paul and his team moved their base to the Kika Kingdom, where they mainly handled A-rank requests. I guess that would still be in the King Dragon realm. Chapter 22. Then one day, when the Fangs of the Black Wolf returned to the guild after completing a request, Paul was stopped by a woman at the receptionist desk. Are you finally ready to go on a date with me? Oh, no? There's a visitor? For me? According to the receptionist, the guest was a man of a human race and was now waiting in another room. Are you going to meet him? I heard it's a man. Maybe he's got a juicy story to tell you. Go ahead and meet him. Of course not, Paul thought. In the case of a lucrative or juicy story, a request may be made without going through the guild. But as long as the man was visiting the guild, there was no chance of that. What a pain, Paul thought. Paul, who was ready to go straight to the tavern where he was based, reluctantly stepped into another room. He opened the door. Paul's face hardened as he saw who was there. Oh, I should have seen this coming. I should have seen this coming. There was too much emphasis on how I was here with my life, and I hated it, and now I'm here, I'm happy. What could possibly come up next, folks? What could possibly come up next after we just literally reminded everybody where he used to be? Damn it. Ah, young master, it has been a long time since I've seen you. Oh, you have grown up so much. He must have... Here I thought that the guild would not, again, technically connect him. And again, he technically registered as just Paul. But I guess it just is... It's as simple as looking at the registries. You see Paul there, the age lines up, The race lines up. He's a swordsman. Everything right there lines up. Yeah, technically, if somebody's looking, they can find him. If the guild has that information public, if you're able to go to the guild and say, I'm looking for somebody, can I look at the registry? It had been several years since Paul had seen the man's face. The servant of the Notice Grey Rat family was here with tears in his eyes. The death of his father? Is that what we were talking about earlier? The title earlier is finally coming to mind. Oh, young master, we have been keeping track of you ever since you ran away from the house, sir. We had sent our pursuers away. Yes, we lost sight of you along the way, and have not been able to locate you since then. But a few months ago, we received a lead. I understand that it has been called a mugging case. The aristocrat who was behind the party was a family close to the Notos Grey Rat family. We learned of the existence of the Fangs of the Black Wolf. I learned the name of the leader, and that is how I come to confirm. Enough. Don't say anything more. Paul's voice naturally turned cold. The servant's shoulders trembled as the formidable adventurer looked at him with sharp eyes. I've given up the name of the Notos Grey Rats. I'm just Paul now. No, young master. I do kind of like this intensity here. Because again, this is sort of like that whole aspect that Paul's entire life is leaving this family behind. I'm leaving it. And they keep coming for me. They keep chasing after me. I keep sending them away. I keep beating them up, whatever. And again, to earlier, I'm now happy. This is where I want to be. I love this place. This is so much different. I feel like I belong here. And now this dude shows up and says, no, master, we've been watching you this entire time, and I finally made the connection. We're here for you. The intensity in his eyes at this guy. Back the off. No, you're not coming to get me. No, we're not doing this. No, you're not going to talk me into this. I don't care what power you have. I don't care how powerful Notos Grey Rats is. Back off. This guy's playing with fire, but again, his mindset is the future of that family. He's willing to step up to Paul and put his life on the risk for that family. I have nothing to say. Was it my father who sent you to me? I'm telling you for the second time. Leave me alone. The servant tried to stop him, calling out, but Paul didn't look back. His chest throbbed with discomfort. Paul quickly left the room and headed for the tavern where he was based. He wanted to see his friends as soon as possible. Back to comfort, back to... This is trauma. He's literally reliving his entire childhood. They're pulling me back again. I thought I was free from it. He's having a panic attack right here. I gotta get back to comfort, back to comfort, back. I gotta get back. I see you're already here, I guess. The man who's waiting for you. Do you know him? No, I don't know him. He thought it was someone else. Was that? You mean it was a waste of time? That's what I'm saying. Damn, I'm sick of it. Paul shrugged and laughed. I ain't lying, Paul thought. Paul Notos Grey Rat is nowhere to be found anymore. He never intended to see his parents' relations again. Paul would soon forget about the servant and go back to his normal routine. Or was going to, but...
Paul, I have a letter for you. He asked me to give this to you.
Throw it away. Then, at a later time...
Hey, Paul, there's a guy to see you. A well-dressed guy, yeah?
Send him away. Then, again, later. I have a letter for you. You can throw it away. All of them? They gave me 10 of them. Just throw them away. Against Paul's wishes, the servant was not about to give up. Being a well-known party, he seemed to quickly recognize the faces of the members of the Fangs of the Black Wolf, and at every turn, he entrusted them with letters and asked them to act as intermediaries.
Paul, I hear your family's nobility.
Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Geese can figure this out. With Geese's informants and whatnot, he probably knew this a long time ago. If not by the man god, probably just through his informants. People know who this is. They know there's a manservant going around from the Notos Grey Rat household looking for this dude, and that he's made contact. They know. He knows. As a result of the contact between the servant and his companions, it was soon discovered that Paul was a nobleman's son who had run away from home.
I can't believe you're born a nobleman. You've been hiding it all along. Paul's a noble kid. I can't allow you to keep such a juicy secret. That could be a good snack.
Don't take it as a joke. Besides, I don't even have anything to do with them anymore.
Isn't Paul the only one who thinks so?
Huh? Maybe one of these days, he'll show up at one of the places we go to for a request. Don't say anything ominous about. Bad omens usually come true, don't they? And then he followed Ghislaine and Elenice's advice. The servant began to ambush people in front of the guild and even showed up at requests received by Fangs the Black Wolf. Young master, please listen to what I have to say. I was kind of trying to figure out what they were actually talking about there. Yeah, places they go to. If he knows now, he's going to start intercepting them and getting involved with their work. So that right there was probably, and then as if following their advice, he's doing that. I said I don't want to listen. You think I'm going to bother listening to you? Paul thought. when I'm sure I'm going to be offended by whatever you say? Finally, Paul struck out and used force.
Gah!
He struck the back of the servant's neck, knocking him unconscious. He might be targeted by a thief, but he was not someone to worry about. Paul left him there. That feels bad. That feels bad. I mean, this dude's going out there and basically harassing Paul. Paul's told him, I'm not going to have any involvement. But this is this guy's job. This is this guy's family that he's involved with, that this is his life, is his serving of this family. From the point at which he started working for them to his death, he will probably always serve the Notice Grey Rat family. But yeah, knocking him out, leaving him there to probably be robbed, and then probably at that point be stranded and die, it feels bad. It feels bad. Do you think it's all right? I'm sure he'll get over it. I don't want him coming after me anymore. I understand. As Paul had intended, no more servants appeared before him after that day. He probably dead. The dude's probably dead. But the letters did not stop. For months after the servant disappeared, they arrived at the guild every day. Chapter 23. Soon, Paul realized that 6 months had passed since his reunion with the manservant. Paul, today's mail. Throw it away. Okay. I didn't know it was delivered to the guild today. Hey, why don't you read it? Don't you want to know what it says? If you want to read it so much, you read it. Oh, I don't read other people's letters, especially when it's written to my friends. You know it's going to say he's dead, that the father's dead. Almost every day, a letter arrived at the guild, and the members took turns receiving them and handing them to Paul. Paul, may I have a word? What's wrong? I haven't received any new requests yet, so you can go on ahead and screw around tonight, okay? Yes, I'll be doing that. Paul, you should go here. The note given to Elise shows a simply drawn map. Is this an inn? Is this a roundabout way of asking me out? No, it's not. There's someone there who wants to meet Paul. Like some shy girl who fell in love with me, but can't approach me? There's a messenger waiting from your parents' house who has been rejected by you. Huh? He came here today after being away for a while. We met him by chance a few minutes ago, so I set up a meeting for you. I wonder why Elise is actually trying to assist with this. Why would she try to assist with this? Again, as we find out with Elise, she doesn't know her family. She was broken off from her family. Now, it could be just the aspect of what happened with Laws and with her granddaughter and everything like that. I guess that could be a sort of a familial aspect that is sort of kind of tugging at her to try to prod Paul this direction. Or it could just be an aspect of just trying to get him to get it done. This is going to keep tormenting you. You have to address it. You're avoiding it. Just address it. Yes, it comes down to the fact that Paul knows what's coming. He knows they're going to say, come back. Yeah, whether it's going to be that, yes, the father's dead, they need you to take over the family, the family's dying without you, there's problems back at home, please help us out, whatever. But the end result is the request to go back that he doesn't want to do. But yeah, there could be an aspect here where they're going to keep following you if you don't just finally just head it off and tell them the answer. Again, hopefully it resolves something. Are you kidding me? Don't go on ahead taking liberties. Blood rushed to his head. He crushed the note that he had received. He suppressed the urge to yell at her with the last bit of reason he had left in him. I'm not playing around with you. I happen to be very serious, you know.
Elise, just give it a rest. We have decided not to get too involved.
We have seen the letters entrusted to Paul and then thrown away, over and over again. But no matter how much time we spend, nothing has changed. Time has gone by unnecessarily. I mean, that's true. Don't with me. Are you kidding me? Don't go ahead taking liberties. What's happening every single day, Paul? Every day, they're walking in there with letters entrusted to them to give to you. Every time they're outside the guild, every time they're outside the inn, there's somebody talking to them to try to have them talk to Paul. They're being forced to be intermediaries. Paul, handle your own I'm tired of being bugged by these people. There is an aspect here where Paul's mad they're trying to take the liberties of setting up a meeting. But guess what, Paul? Every day, your party's having to deal with your crap. Because you tell them, throw it away. Hey, Paul, another letter, throw it away. They're having to throw it away. You're using them as blockades. Elise is sick of it. This goes both ways, Paul. This goes both ways. There is an element here of respecting Paul and his decision not to be involved with his family, and they're harassing him. But at the same time, you're causing problems for other people because you're not addressing it. There's a second order effect here. But no matter how much time we spend, nothing has changed. Time has gone by unnecessarily. Then why don't you just not bother? If you're annoyed by my attitude, don't accept the letters. Why won't you just ignore them? What about you? Will you be able to keep ignoring them? Yeah,
He nodded as he looked back into Annalise's eyes. She huffed as she smiled condescendingly at him. That's a lie, isn't it? And it's affecting him. That's the other thing. We're party, and this is affecting you. It's going to cause problems for us in the future. It's obvious that you're having your mind stirred up. Even if you're okay now, don't you think that you might get distracted and make a big mistake one of these days? We can't trust our lives with a party leader like that. True. True. Annalise did not raise her voice, nor did she speak loudly. However, her words pierced Paul's heart. I love that idea. I am actually a massive fan of that. I hate the idea of getting angry and just raising your voice. Get your point across. That's why, yeah, I kind of drum up every now and then. We have some fun with some outrage moments, getting mad or whatever, but I'm not really a massive fan of, if I'm speaking to somebody, if I'm directly speaking to somebody. This is a big thing that I was very strong about when I started taking leadership roles, because I dealt with leaders that would cuss and get irate and yell. And so there was a part of me that when I took upon myself leadership roles at a job, I was very adamant about, when I talk to somebody, I'm straight to the point. Here is where you're wrong. And I was very stern about it, using stern and very choice wording to get the point across to somebody what they did wrong and how to correct it. And a lot of that was driven by the fact that I've been dealing with people for so long that just cuss. I'm going to extend what I have to say by hundreds of words that don't even need to be there. Effing this. Effing that. That doesn't get your point across. Because I hear effing before you say another word doesn't make it more potent. It doesn't change my mind. Oh no, he said the F word. No. Straight to the point. Because adding all those extra words just muddies it up. Tell them what the problem is. Straight up. That's what Annalise is doing. Straight to the point. She doesn't have to yell. You get my point. You're going to make a big mistake and everybody dies. What do you think of that? It pierces him. Why? Because we established over the last 5 chapters at this point. It's hard to really dictate chapters with this whole thing because they're so quick. This entire time that he's been partying with the Fangs, the Black Wolves, what he's established is this idea that the party is important. I love this party. I'm comfortable. I'm free. And most importantly, I'm not going to be like that other guy. I won't be like him. I won't put my allies in danger. I'll protect them, and they will protect me. Now, Annalise is telling me I'm putting them in danger. Nope. Correct course. Change it up. Good. Paul turned away from Annalise. I'm alone in this, Paul thought. Are they trying to destroy the place where I belong? Okay, that conclusion is not really where I was expecting it to go to. He's going to kill somebody. Then Paul went back to his family and killed everybody. Feeling as if his body temperature had dropped, the blood started to flow, and a shudder ran down his spine. You're going to lose it. Doesn't want to lose it. And that's a dangerous spot to be. The way that it describes that, it almost sounds like he's getting cornered. And what happens when somebody gets cornered? Paul, what is it? He couldn't look her in the face. It's not like you to turn away from your friends. Paul, please look up at me. He slowly raised his face. He thought. Contrary to the harsh words, Annalise's face was calm. Again, didn't raise her voice. Her words pierced his heart. Her face is calm. There's no better way to get across to somebody with a calm, direct words. It does a lot more than screaming at them. Paul, she's not your dad. She's not your dad. What is a man like Paul, the leader of the famous, the Fangs, the Black Wolves, to be so frightened at the mere contact with his parents' home? Go and see him peacefully. If he says something offensive, then you can simply punch him in the face. It's trauma, Annalise. He's afraid of his family because he doesn't want that crap coming back and destroying what he has. It's easy to understand. All into hand then. Ghislaine's like, I like that. That's easy. I'll do that too. In that case, I think we better get ourselves a strong drink. Need something that can make your members skip a beat? I know just a thing. You guys. I'm not so stubborn, Paul thought, that I stand up against my friends when they push me so hard. Paul opened his clenched hand and unfolded the crumpled note. Then, I've got no choice but to go see him. I'll send him away again this time. Paul is not a young man with an honest disposition. With such sarcasm in his mouth, he headed for the inn where the servant was waiting for him. We'll see. Chapter 25. He did not expect Paul to actually come.
And when he opened up the door to his room, the servant made a face as if he could not believe it. Young master, I don't care about talking much. Just tell me what you want. Oh, yes. They sat down across from each other. The servant was thinner than when he had seen him before. His face kind of reminds me of things I want to forget about, Paul thought. Yeah, this guy is probably out there on his own. He probably doesn't even have much money. He's literally just trying to get Paul back, and he's literally out on a limb. It indicates this guy doesn't have a bunch of money in his pocket. His face reminds me of things I want to forget about, Paul thought. Let's just get this over with, and I can have a drink with the guys. The master is no longer with us. What did you say? Paul's consciousness, which had been escaped from reality, was called back in an instant. Oi, what did you say? The master, that is to say, Amaranth-sama, has passed away from illness. Yep, seen that coming. Seen that coming. Seen that coming. No, it can't be. His hand trembled. His head refused to comprehend the words. His head hurt, but no tears came out. I wonder how much he's going to get into this. He's probably going to get into this, but yeah, I can totally see this. Even if you despise your family in some cases, it still hurts. What it's sort of implying here to me, it's just that his father is still a thing in his mind. Family is still a thing in his mind. No matter how much he hated his father as he left, no matter how horrible his father was to him, there is still an element of expecting that to exist there. There's a disconnect that happens. Almost a break that happens when you realize this thing is no longer physically right there. It still has an impact, no matter how much you despise them. There's still a loss of sort of a structure that was there. After young master left the mansion, the master had disciplined himself even more strictly than before, and had behaved honorably as the head of the family. But about a year ago, he fell ill and his health declined. Since then, his physical condition had not been good. It had been a while after that I found that the young master was in the kingdom of Kika. I came to you about 6 months before. I had to tell you that the master was in perilous condition. Huh. Oof. Yes, on one hand, this does sort of give that, again, confirmation there that the last time he was here, he was there to tell Paul he's sick. And then cut forward, one, either he doesn't have as much funding as he had before or support, or two, this has negatively impacted this manservant. The fact that he had died has messed with him quite a bit, to the point where he might not be eating because of the loss of his master. I would probably think it's more the fact that, yes, he's been out on a limb chasing after Paul. But yes, this is a gut punch in the idea that you had a chance to go see your father before he died and you didn't listen. I was trying to tell you and you wouldn't listen. Again, similar to the whole situation with the mother. He had a chance to see something that was there, but he failed to see it, and thus it comes back to bite him later on that he failed to be there when his mother was passing away. It is a 1-2 punch. Again, not that he's going to be as impacted here. I see. To tell you the truth, I would have liked to have taken the young master home, but it was beyond my ability to do so. So, I went back to the house. Did you take care of him in his last moments? Yes, with the others of the mansion, and Palmon-sama. Palmon, huh? The last time he saw him face to face, Palmon was a child. Nowadays, he didn't know what his brother looked like. The master had fallen sick, and Palmon-sama had been acting as the head of the family at short notice. That guy? Yes, he was trying his best to get along with the master, probably because he had seen the master's splendid behavior. Past tense, huh? The world of nobility is not easy. The young master Palmon was underestimated and looked down upon, and he must have been completely broken-hearted. He was constantly looking at the faces of those around him, and he began to flatter those who were more powerful. He took to drifting with such unbecoming ease. As the head of the family, he often changes his opinions and confuses those below him. It seemed that Palmon was completely absorbed into the world of aristocracy. He followed those who were strong. This is one of the ways to survive in that world. He was a cocky and repulsive little brother. Paul had little feeling for him, so little that he hardly remembered him since he had left on his journey. Still, Paul thought, what was Dad doing? Even if he was sick and bedridden, he could have raised Palmon strictly, couldn't he? The master was afraid of him. He was afraid if he treated him harshly, he would repeat what happened with Paul-sama. Feared? That father is... No, that's a lie. Paul's father, who'd never looked at him, he always hated him. But at the same time that he hated him, he also feared him. The image of his strength to survive in the world he only ran away from was still etched in Paul's memories. I don't know what kind of man that Palmon had become, but isn't it still your job to support him? You are right, young master. However, Palmon-sama is too much out of favor with those below him. The worst thing that had happened to him was that he showed dependence on Amaranth-sama, who was already sick, and his health on a wane. Interesting what they're putting here. This is sort of something that I expected. And the idea that even though Amaranth literally pushed his son out the door, get out of here. It's your fault that my wife is dead. You took the son from me, and now you're getting angry with Palmon, who's perfect. He's going to be the next to the household and everything like that. There is an element here. And again, the manservant warned him, don't do that. And again, a lot of my mentality there was the fact that it's going to come back and bite this family. You can't let this guy get out. If you let your son get out there, it's going to look really bad upon us. We have to fix this. We have to fix this. He can't go anywhere. You cannot have that son leave this house. He is the eldest of this house. He is the future of this family. But there is an element here where there's another effect, a second order of effect that has impacted Amaranth, and the idea that I can't fail again. I failed that boy. I messed up. That was my first go. Damn, first draft sucks. Crumpled up, throw out the door. But don't forget it, because I can mess up the second draft. And because my wife is dead, Palmon's it. That's it. If I fail with this boy, it's over. I'm screwed. So I have to make sure this works this time. And this has driven him into this dark area, it seems. This fear that he has, that he's going to fail again. It doesn't surprise me as well what sort of happened with Palmon, and the idea that it seems like he was treated differently by his father, whereas Paul was treated with a little bit there that he was giving in, but he was constantly trying to be strict with Paul. And he would try to reprimand Paul. And what that sort of did was make Paul not like nobility. He hated nobility because he wasn't allowed to do what he wanted to do. Whereas Palmon was given everything. So Paul hated nobility and thus always looked down for something to comfort him. Those below him to comfort him. That blew up in his face eventually, but he looked lower than him. He hated everything above him. Again, at school, he was spitting in their faces. Everybody that was even or around his level, he didn't want to be around. These are disgusting people. Always looking down. Over here, Palmon is given everything. He's spoiled by the father because he doesn't want him to mess up. And he's looking promising. But the problem there is that he gets a bloated ego and he spits on everything below him. He's disgusted at everything below him. And it messes everything up in that regard as well. So it's almost like a power fluctuation here between how he raised both these children. And in the end, Palmon is looked down upon. He began to flatter those that were more powerful. He took to drifting with unbecoming ease as the head of the family. Again, ego. He often changes opinion and confuses those below him. Yeah, he's not given structure. He doesn't have a sense of structure and purpose. And since he has so much freedom, he lacks guidance. Amaranth just sucks at raising children, plain and simple. Again, it's interesting how Paul's leaving has affected that family so much, despite the fact that it feels like him leaving would be the best thing for them. Win-win situation. Paul gets to be free. He gets away from that disgusting world. Amaranth has a new child that's going to replace him. Everything's good, right? No. It falls apart without him there. It falls apart without him there. And again, that's what they sort of implied with the novel series, in the idea that once Paul left and Palmon took over, what did everybody do? It said that all of the maids, everybody in that family, in that house, was going, oh, damn, we need Paul back. No, where's Paul? He was strong. Let's bring Paul back. Here's where it's confirming it. They want him back. The servants of the house had a deep respect for the master. Because of that, they distrust Palmon-sama even more. Paul, who was always making his own will known, was more suitable to be head of the Notos Grey Rat family than Palmon, who had no opinion of his own and was always dependent on other people's opinion. Bingo. Paul was independent. Palmon was just follow around. Palmon had no guidance. Palmon had no spirit. Palmon was just trying to appease his father and sucking up those cakes. Yes, father. Yes, father, I'm doing. Yes, father, what do you want me to do next, father? He was overly spoiled. He did a complete reverse as to what he did to Paul. And that's blowing up in everybody's faces. We all agree on that now. Are you asking me to go back and take over the House of Notos? The Grey Rats are a martial family. There is no need to hide the fact that you have a history of being an A-rank adventurer. Are you kidding me? I'm not going to be someone with a history of being an adventurer. You're talking nonsense. Paul's answer had already been given. He had no intention of returning to the world of nobility. If that's what you want to talk about, I'm going. Don't ever show your face in front of me again. As he was about to leave the room, a letter was presented to him. What's this?
A letter from Master.
Oh. I don't like this. I don't like it. I don't like it.
My father wrote to me. The memory of the night that he ran away from home came back to Paul's mind. You dare mock the name of the house? Such a man is not needed in this house. The family's name will be inherited by Palmon. Get out of here now. Yeah, that's right. Very well. I'll get out of the house right now. Fighting words. The last time he saw his father's face was in a rage, and a bitter feeling swirled in his chest, just remembering it. Please, young master, please read this letter at least. It is Amaret-sama's last and final letter to you. Paul received the letter, but hesitated to open it. My dad's, his last. The letters that the servant had sent out, that his friends received, and Paul kept throwing away. If he had read them, would he have been present at the end of his father's life? If I had known that my father was in critical condition, would I have gone to see him? That's a good question. I don't think he would. If he opened up one of those letters and immediately said, even if it was directly from his father, hey, son, I'm sorry. I'm not long for this world. Please come see me or something like that. I want to say that he would. It's a really hard one for him to say, but it's kind of hard for me to say, but I think he would have. That's a toughie. I have like the most crazy storm coming out of nowhere, so I'm going to wait until it passes by before I continue recording. Jump forward in time. Okay, the storm's gone. It feels like an ominous sign. Yeah, the storms show up out of nowhere, and Paul's got this letter from his father. Let's see if it actually gets in the letter. If I had known that my dad was critical condition, would I have gone to see him? He didn't know, no matter how many what-ifs he thought about. Paul excelled deeply and eventually opened the sealed envelope and began to read the letter. I wonder if this is going to hit me. Again, I have lost my father, and anytime a story involves a father, it hurts a lot. But Amaranth, really don't like this dude. I really don't like this dude at all. And I see how much Paul's disconnected from him. But again, stated before, he's still going to have pleasant memories. He's still going to have these good moments. Like, yeah, his father's saying, yeah, go get with those girls. Yeah, go get those girls, man. You know, just make sure to do your studies, but get with those girls. I'll let you do it. Yeah, you spotted me, you know, getting handsy with the maid. There's still positive moments in his life. And it did imply that the father was very lenient on him early on. He was wanting to be strict, but he was way too lenient. So he's going to have positive memories of his father. It's just the last moments of that whole encounter. Didn't like the dude. He was, again, he chose Paimon. And ever since then, he treated him horribly. And again, blamed him for his mother's death, which, again, Paul believes is true. And so he's not going to believe his father was wrong there. Anyways, dear Paul, when you have a chance to read this letter, I will be dead. I have been thinking of you often since I have felt ill. And it sucks coming to terms with things like that in your dying moments. I made a big mistake. Vintage. It's hit me on. The mistake moment hit me in the face. The mistake hit me in the face. And not just the night I kicked you out. I have been wrong in my treatment of you for all these years. Whether it was the house arrest or being cold to you, I have done nothing but wrong in my treatment of you. I took my grief at my loss of Valentina and my anger at myself for not being able to save her or do anything to help her, and took it out on you. No matter how much I hone my skills with the sword, no matter how much I am praised as a lord, I am still an immature man. I have lost my wife and my son. I am sorry, Paul. I was hard on you. I blamed you, not considering your feelings. I am truly sorry. Please forgive your foolish father. The letter ended unfinished. What hit me is he's not asking him to come back. I guess as much as I can hate Amaranth for being a total dirtbag,
pull of a father. And my gosh, I mean, guys, those were here with that Mushoku Monday. What was it, the third one or the second one? I was this guy. Absolutely disgusting father. Again, I acknowledge that fathers make mistakes, and they will make a lot of mistakes. It's just you don't know about how to raise a child until you're doing it. And no matter how many books you read, it doesn't prepare you. Because every child is different. The needs of a child is different. The environment in which the kid's raised is different. The community that they're raised in is different. The parents are different. Their emotions are different. Their experiences are different. Their lived experiences are different. Their cultures are different. Everybody's different. But Amaranth, it seemed like he was too hands-off. At least, again, from the perspective that we get, from the story that's told, it seemed like he was very hands-off. And he kept expecting his son to understand things that he couldn't understand. And Paul was constantly afraid and frustrated and angry and disgusted by what was around him. And the father never helped him. Right here, he's acknowledging, I took my grief out on you. Again, what I was talking about back there was that Paimon said it was your fault. And Amaranth was confirming it. Yeah, it's your fault. Paimon says it, and he says it. And again, my perspective there was that everybody was telling Paimon it was his fault. And right there, he was doing the same. Amaranth was afraid of losing his beloved wife. And he was putting that frustration that he was having at the time because he was losing his wife, he was putting it on Paul. Because if it weren't for the fact that he kept having to be seen by my wife, she fell ill. She was frail. It caused this. Right here, he's realizing that, yeah, I was wrong in doing that. So it's regrets in this letter. It's regrets. And again, it's always sad to see this in somebody coming to the end of their life, is that moment where you realize it's a reality check. It's just like near-death experiences. Gives you a reality check. You get that diagnosis or something like that, and it gives you that reality check. And then you get that second wind of life, and you're trying to do something different. You're trying to change something. A lot of perspective changes in that moment. Like I had a little bit of a medical emergency, for those that missed it. And it gave me that, like, oh crap, is this kind of what I want to be doing? Am I doing what I want to be doing? It's a clarity moment. You get a clarity moment, and what is important moment. And this is something I've experienced several times in my life, especially with, loss of family. You get that reality check. Were you doing enough? You should do more going forward. Be more attentive of those that you love because you realize how quickly it's snuffed out. Amaranth had that reality check. It gave him that clarity of, wait, I was bitter and angry, but no, it wasn't his fault. No, I screwed up. No, my son was strong. No, I kind of corrected there. But again, the thing that kicks me in the stomach so much more than the obvious reality check here, the realization that he was wrong and wanting to apologize to his son, the fact that the letter was only that. The fact that the letter was only that. There's no Paul, come back. There's no Paul, I need you to get back here. The family name. Paul, the family name. Paul, get back here. Paul, I'm wrong. I'm sorry, but please come back. Paul, we need you here now. Paul, come back. Just, I'm sorry. Please forgive your foolish father. This is a father's letter. This is a letter from a father to a son. The last statement to apologize to him. This wasn't a request. This wasn't do your family good. It's not a be the man I developed you to be. What Amaranth always kept saying, I raised you that way. You were supposed to be that son. You were supposed to take over the family. You're the next head. You have responsibilities. You need to do this as a nobleman, just simply, I'm sorry. That's all I want him to know. I just want my son to know I'm sorry. Yes, the manservant is trying to get him to come back because the family still moves on. But Amaranth right here, Amaranth could have wrote another letter at some other time. He was sending people after him. But Amaranth and his dying moments with that dying clarity is simply just wanting his son to know he's sorry. His father came back very briefly. A father came out there very briefly.
I didn't want to be sad about Amaranth. I'm not sad about Amaranth. It's just sad about fathers. It's sad about fathers. The letter ended unfinished. That's an interesting note. I'm wondering if that means that his father passed away writing those final letters. That's a little bit convenient. I'm wondering if it is one of those aspects where maybe his father was planning on saying, please come back, and he chose not to write it. I think that's what it's saying. I want to believe that's probably what it means. Please forgive your foolish father. And then stops. Maybe a pin dot somewhere. Please forgive your foolish father, Paul thought. I can't do that, can I? I'm not going to forgive you for what you've done. When he looked up and saw the manservant, he looked at Paul with unexpected eyes. The manservant was expecting him to ask. The manservant probably read it with him. He thought the father was going to ask him to come back. He was there with the... That's what's going to happen. The manservant got the letter from Amaranth, and Amaranth said, here, give this to him and he'll come back. And he came there to retrieve him, and the letter's not saying to come back. Perhaps he was expecting Paul to say he would return, having been moved by the letter. No. I guess, yeah. I don't know. The Nodos Grey Rats are a high-ranking noble house of the Kingdom of Asra. It's a distinguished martial family with a long history. Yes, that is correct, young master. It is the family that the young master would inherit. I have no intention of doing so. It is a house that has nothing to do with me anymore. Paul-sama, I have given up the name of nobility. I have no intentions of going back. He has nothing to return to at this point. Even if his father is saying I'm sorry, he has nothing to return to anymore. He doesn't care about nobility. He doesn't care about that house. By all the indications, the maid that was the only nice person there is gone. Again, it sort of indicates that the maid that was the head maid is gone. Again, she wasn't at the door waiting for him. The manservant was. Palmon's seen them and probably ratted out to the father, and she probably got fired. He has nothing there anymore. Yeah, by the idea that my father is asking for forgiveness and I want to carry on his legacy because I feel bad now, or I accept his apology, that's something, but Paul doesn't want that. You are vassals of the Notos. No matter how dissatisfied you are to serve your lord with sincerity. If you say that you love my father, don't give up your way of life as a vassal. It would be treason to try to take on another head of the family. Well, don't ever show your face in front of me. The next time you try to contact me, I will cut you down. I will show you no mercy. The servant froze, as if he had forgotten how to breathe, as if he'd been stared at by a skilled adventurer who had been through the ordeal. He was not about to take the letter home with him. Paul put down the letter and got up from his seat. Amaranth, Notos Grey Rat, you who look so strong were in the end just another weak man. Now that I know that, I am not ready to forgive you. But just once before you had died, it would have been nice to have a chance to have talked to you. He would never forget his childhood, but maybe things were just a little bit lighter now. Again, I don't expect him to forgive his father, but there is a lot of hate here. There's an excessive amount of hate here. And again, that comes with the fact that he can't forgive him for what he did to him and the trauma that he pushed upon him. This dude made his son believe he killed his mother. Made him believe it. He said it Paul said it himself. I did it. His father made him believe he killed his mother. Kicked him out on the street. Chased him down with armed guards to try to get him to come back. But it's still at least nice that in the end, even though he's choosing to see him as just another weak man, which, yes, is sort of a reality check for Paul because he's always seen his father as an extremely strong man that cannot be shaken. At least in the end, it does look like he wanted to at least talk to him. Paul would never forget his childhood, but maybe things were just a little lighter now. That's a lot of weight off his shoulders. If I have children one day, I won't make the same mistakes as you did. Yes, you will. Yes, you will. Yes, you will, Paul. You're going to strike your son. You're going to do it, Paul. Yes, you will. You're not above him. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree there, Paul. I will continue, but at least he does tell his son to stay away from it. And even though he does send his son off to train a noble daughter and ends up getting himself wrapped up in it, I will continue to live my life so that when I die, I won't think I made a lot of mistakes.
It's like a Mushoku Tensei constant thing. I mean, it's a general life thing. It's not. This isn't Mushoku Tensei specific. That the idea of regrets and mistakes and all that kind of stuff is something everybody lives through, and at some point will come to grips with when they're at their final moments. Did I do what I wanted to do? I wish I could have done more. Yada yada yada. But yes, it does kind of parallel Rudius a little bit there. Paul strongly believed that he would continue to live in this place that he had found and finally attained. Just a few moments before leaving the room for the first and last time, Paul prayed for his father, Amaranth, to rest in peace. I won't forgive him. I won't forgive him. May he rest in peace, right? I won't forget him. I'll never forgive him. I wasn't expecting to get that beat up about that. Not that I really cared too much for Paul. I hurt for Paul as a kid and what he went through with his father. I think it's deplorable what his father put him through. But again, there is a moment of like, again, clarity. And then those around, will they accept it? My gosh, how many cases I've heard of that, where people were abused by their parents, abused by their father or whatever, and then at some point they get contacted by their parents. Oh yeah, he's dying. He's not going to last overnight. And then he wants to say sorry, and the child in a lot of cases won't go to their side. I think I've seen some where they do end up going just to hear it. Not that they forgive him, just wanted to hear it. Because I think there is an element that even if you don't accept it, I believe for the person to hear it, they won't have the regrets for not hearing it. You can go hear it and thus not regret not hearing it. And whether you choose to accept it or not doesn't matter. Just at least go so you don't have that regret. But I know that a lot of people have that feeling of, if I go, I will allow them to rest easy. I don't want them to have that out, that last, I'm sorry. I don't want them to have it. That's a complicated discussion there. I fully know there's a million situations and whatnot that can fall under. I'm not saying that I have the answer for it all. Anyways, the final arc, the adventure retirement arc. We haven't even met Zenith yet, and apparently he's retiring. Which means they're probably going to meet Zenith here soon. Yep, episode 1, Zenith. Here it is. Chapter 1. There had been a number of adventure parties that boasted being A rank, but among them, there had been one that had been a talk of the town recently, with a name that always came up. Did you hear? I heard that party has conquered another labyrinth. But even though the members belong to different races, they are in perfect sync. Although they work in a simple coordination, each of them is highly skilled. As a fellow adventurer, I admire them. The leader is very charming. He's strong and has a handsome face, and I heard that he's amazing at night. They're monsters. It's a famous story that not even a blade of grass is left when they pass through. Think of that stupid story. They got into a fight at a bar and went on a rampage. You're an idiot before having balls to fight those guys. Do you have a death wish? Their reputation, a mixture of favorable and unfavorable publicity, was spreading throughout the central continent, and everyone was paying attention to what they were up to. The name of the small elite party, the Fangs of Black Wolf. They're going to move on. That's why you're going to meet Zenith. They're getting off the continent. They're going to Milshin. They were currently running around in the Red Dragon Mountains. Oh, they're coming this way. Run, run. Ah, heavy. You better lose some weight if you're going to make it out alive, Talon. Yeah, if we make it out of here alive. Don't be so fussy. Paul and Geese ran down the trackless path in the mountain range, dragging the slow-footed Talhan by each arm. Elise followed close behind. This way. Poke through these bushes. There's a steep slope ahead. Watch out. Ghislaine, who was leading the group, said loudly without looking back, and at the same time disappeared into the deep bushes. Paul and the others followed her step and stepped inside the bushes. The ground that should be under their feet was gone. What the hell? A cliff? His feet, which were running as fast as they could not be stopped. A sudden turn of events. The members of the Fang of the Black Wolves fell from the cliff. Fortunately, the leaves and branches of the overgrown trees acted as a cushion, and they did not die or suffer serious injuries. Except for Ghislaine, who jumped down of her own volition. Everyone was knocked to the ground and were left looking up into the sky. This is the worst. I agree. But we survived. Just barely, though. A red worm was flying high in the sky. I kind of assumed it was going to be a red worm, or a worm of some type. It was the one that had been chasing Paul and the others. Losing sight of its prey, the monster circled and returned back to its flock. The red worms, which mainly inhabited the Red Dragon Mountains, are extremely ferocious and are classified as the most dangerous monster on the central continent. Individually, They were considered to have an S-rank strength. It's unbelievable, isn't it? I can't believe that big thing can move so nimbly. Paul muttered to himself as he sat up. Despite the sound of his voice and words, he had a somewhat happy expression on his face. Yeah, I would kind of assume that the whole situation here is that they went over to try to fight one because Paul wanted to fight one. I could totally see that.
It was spitting flames out of his mouth, wasn't it? If he'd taken a serious bite from it, you could have had your bones turned to ashes. In addition, it seems to be highly intelligent. It had a presence of mind to take out the troublesome enemies first.
There's too few of us to beat them. 7 or maybe 8 parties. Well, we still lose a lot of lives. Who said that they wanted to see those powerful red worms? I knew it. Elise was like, it's your fault, Paul. You want us to fight this stupid thing. That was you. The eyes of the members of the Fangs of the Black Wolves gathered on their leader. Paul frowned at the piercing glances. I'm not the only one. It was mostly your idea, was it not? Why the hell would I do that? we were going to the Red Dragon Mountains, and I said I wanted to see a red worm anyways. You agreed with me. You could see them from afar. Why do we have to come all the way up here to see it? Paul and Elise were shouting at each other, and Ghislaine was watching them. Geese, who felt somewhat uncomfortable, tilted his head, and Talhead interrupted Paul and the others.
Don't bark, Elise. You had the same feeling that you wanted to have a chance at some excitement, did you not?
But I'm the only one willing to pay for it with my own life. Huh? But I'm the only one willing to pay for it? Like, I'm the only one that's going to follow through? I'm not the one that she didn't make the call to run? Like she's looking for death? That's a very ominous statement.
Dragon slaying. It's a lucrative business. Bone, flesh, and skin. Dragon material is the highest quality. Even the reward for killing those dragons is enough to live on for a year.
A year? That's how much money you can get?
Yeah. The details aside, you should at least remember the price of a dangerous request, right?
I'll make the effort. I mean, that's the obvious thing there. Yeah, the pay is really big. Why? Geese is literally going, yeah, you could get a lot of money for that skin. Why? Because you could die. Because the risk is really high. Ghislaine nodded with a mysterious look on her face. She's going to go back. She's going to go back after it. But it was not clear whether or not she understood, even if she tried. Paul clasped Ghislaine's shoulder. His expression was stiff. Don't be so tense. We don't have anyone who would think of cheating you and exploiting you. Yeah, right.
At any rate, the request itself has been completed. We have to return to the guild.
They must have had a mission nearby. Yeah, let's get the hell out of here and hit the bars. Recently, the Fangs of the Black Wolf have been working in the form of going back and forth between the guilds of Kika and Sanakia kingdoms. For this reason, the Fangs had attracted a peculiar attention in both countries. And when they successfully completed a request and returned home, influential people who wanted to establish a relationship with them would prepare a party to celebrate. Some people trying to get in good, nobles or somebody trying to get that power. Paul and his friends were having a great time drinking and singing at the bar filled with attractive men and women. Hey, Geese, what's with the difficult look on your face? There's good food, expensive drinks, a banquet of all kinds of beautiful people, and you can't enjoy it? You become a man of extravagance. Paul, who had already been drinking as much as he can, was in a good mood and patting Geese on the shoulder with a red face.
Paul. I need to talk to you.
Talk? What is it? Did you gamble again? Damn it, did you gamble again?
I'm serious.
Oh? Geese got a message from the man god telling him, you should get out of there or you will regret it, trying to nudge him over towards Millis. Contrary to the bustling of the surroundings, there was a tense atmosphere at the table around them. Perhaps sensing this, the men and women who had been gathered for the reception quickly moved away. They parted to Talhan, who was having a drinking contest, to Elnise, who was flanking by them, and to Ghislaine, who was drinking in silence. They go over to Ghislaine, who's just over there eating, doesn't care about anything.
Maybe it's just my imagination.
What is it? If you have something to say, don't waste your time and just say it now.
Paul, you took a bite, didn't you?
A bite of what? Paul did not ask. Paul understood what Geese was referring to without being told directly.
You put your hands on her, didn't you? On Ghislaine. That's not all. You've slept with Elnise too, haven't you?
His silence was an affirmation. Paul slurped down the remaining liquor in his cup, then propped himself up with his elbows and folded his hands. Listen,
I don't want to hear about your affairs, but I need to know what's going on with the party.
It was because of being in heat.
What? You're in heat all year round, right?
Fuck. You idiot.
What? You're in heat all year round, right?
You idiot. I wasn't talking about me. Paul glared at Geese as if to say, what are you taking for granted?
It's not about me. It's about Ghislaine. When?
The other day, there was a request that brought a lot of money, right? When you gambled away your money and went into hiding for a while, well, that's when it happened.
What about Talhan?
That's right. He got a lot of money, so he went to a lot of bars, had drinking contests, and was gone for a while. I think she was in heat about that time, you know? I just got out of hand. When a woman with a nice ass asks you out, how can a man refuse her?
Eh? Did Ghislaine ask you out?
Paul's reply stalled for a moment. Oh, gosh. Yes.
Paul, look me in the eyes.
Mm-hmm. Paul's reply stalled for a moment. Then he blatantly looked away from Geese. No, I mean, whether she asked me out or I took advantage of her,
there's no limit to how out of control you are. So, you couldn't resist looking at Ghislaine, who was in heat, and you took advantage of her, right? So, what about Elise?
She found out about me and Ghislaine, and we had an affair. This was not the first time that Paul had relations with Elise. They had first gotten to bed together when he recruited her, and then several times after that. But after sleeping with both of the women of the party, Paul himself had no idea what the atmosphere and relationship would be like in the Fangs of the Black Wolf from then on out.
You're really living by the bottom half of your body, to the point of stupefaction. For God's sakes, do a decent job of it, will you? You don't want to get bludgeoned in the company of your friends, do you?
I know. The Fangs of the Black Wolves is the best party. I don't want to destroy it either. Yeah, this is already starting to hit on sort of the downfall of relationship, at least with Elise and Paul specifically. And the idea that, yeah, she wasn't a huge fan of his. And again, blame him for a lot. Now, the kind of conclusion they were sort of getting into is the idea that, you know, she didn't like that he ended up betting Zenith as well. I kind of had that feeling there. But it's really the fact that it seems like they sort of had something going on between him and Elise, and then he starts sleeping with Ghislaine, and that causes a bit of a conflict there. It's implying the idea of Elise not being happy with him sleeping with Ghislaine rather than her or something. Very interesting. Either way, yeah, mixing relationships in a party like this is probably not a good thing. It is probably best to keep separate. And again, that was sort of what Soldat was getting into with a lot of people in relationships in their parties as well, with their guild and whatnot.
I don't know how much I can help you. If you know that, and you still mess with it, you better discipline that wild son of yours.
Yeah. Paul was impressed by Geese and could only nod. Before forming the Fangs of the Black Wolf, Paul had joined parties on the fly and had been kicked out for groping women in said parties. I ain't learning either, Paul thought. He would have to be selective about women he had put his hands on. Paul only vaguely understood that there was some with whom he should not have casual relations. Okay,
what's up with all that enthusiasm?
I'm going to play. Declaring so with dignity, Paul headed towards the women who had been summoned to the banquet and called out to them.
Doesn't care about discipline, does he?
Geese's disgusted muttering didn't reach Paul, who was fishing for women. It wasn't hard to raise enough money for all the members to spend freely, and their fame, though mixed with notoriety, was growing. Things are going well, aren't they? Feels like a tripping point, or again, the idea of running into Zenith and choosing to leave it all behind. Maybe that was why Paul, who had been living a hectic life since he left home, was beginning to feel that his stable life was somehow lacking. Is this the idea of somebody feeling like they have everything in life, but they don't have the one that they truly love? It's going to be true love. Again, we know what's coming up next. The assumption is going to be true love. He doesn't know real love. That said, Paul thought, going to see the Red Worm might have been a bit far-fetched, but not to say exciting suggestion. Chapter 2. Are we going to beat Zenith before I finish this recording? Oh my gosh, I was hoping at least run into Zenith before we finished. A few days later, Paul showed up at the guild with Elise. He decided to take a request that was not as difficult as dragon slaying, so that he would not have would not have to feel inadequate. Paul and Elise were about to go check the quest board when they noticed that a group of men had their backs to them and were hunched over each other. Apparently, they were surrounding someone. Yep, there it is, Zenith. There it is, Zenith.
Zenith-chan's only 15 years old, an already D-ranked adventurer, and a healer at that. Isn't that amazing?
If you haven't joined a party yet, come to ours. We're looking for healers. Let's work hard together from now on.
Oh my, is that okay? Are you sure?
Of course. Yeah, but our leader is a B-rank adventurer, so Zenith-chan can't join our party right now.
You can join as apprentice for now. We'll give you a decent reward, and since it's B-rank requests, Zenith's share will be As far as Paul can tell, the adventurers were in the process of recruiting newcomers. Even though she was treated as an apprentice, the amount she was offered was considerably lower than the market price. Is she stupid or what? Paul thought. Who would want to join a party for that kind of money? When Paul snickered, he heard unbelievable words. Not only you let me join your party, but you're sharing the reward with me? You guys are so sweet. Oh, Zenith. Oh, Zenith. Oh, poor Zenith. Huh? Is there someone as dumb as Ghislaine, Paul thought? Damn. Paul turned his head in the direction of the cheerful voice, which seemed to be going with a whimper. From between the men's shoulder, he could see a girl called Zenith. Doki, 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 doki. The love at first sight. Doki, 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 doki. From the moment that Paul saw the girl, whose face was still youthful, he was struck by a sensation he had never felt before. He didn't know what it was. It sounds good to say that she's pure, but that would be a terrible thing to do. But it's none of our business. Paul? Paul, hello, Paul, hey, wakey, wakey. She noticed that Paul's feet were moving. He passed by Emily silently. I don't know if this kid's empty-headed or naive, but I can't leave her alone, Paul thought. As an A-rank party, we have a responsibility to make sure that we don't let lower ranks down. Yeah, it's your duty. Yeah, of course, it's your duty. It's your duty. It's not that guy down there that's saying, "Hey, Paul, we're going this direction." Just when we needed to heal her too. Paul put his hand on the men's shoulders, making an excuse in his mind to no one in particular. What a coincidence. We've been looking for you too, healer. What's the matter with you all of a sudden? We approached this girl first, you know. Don't get in our way. Huh? What? You revealed your true nature, didn't you? Zenith seemed confused by Paul's sudden appearance and by the adventurers who had changed their gentle attitude and raised their voices. You're doing a dirty job, trying to cheat newcomers by talking them up. Are you trying to exploit people you don't know anything about? Shut up. What the hell are you up to? Are you going to lecture us? Who the hell do you think you are? The adventurers grabbed Paul's hand and popped him off their shoulders, and then they started to shout at him. They probably thought that he was nothing more than a cheeky, righteous young man with a cocky sense of justice. Like Cliff? Are you talking about Cliff? Did they run into Cliff? Cliff is nowhere around yet. Don't you guys know me? Paul thought. Sounds just perfect. The adventurers around him either knew Paul or didn't want to get in trouble, so they didn't try to interfere. Paul gave a sly, mocking smile and encouraged the men. I'm not going to preach to you. I don't think you guys are going to change your minds, no matter what people say to you. I mean, what's the use in being the first to speak? The first one to speak up doesn't necessarily win, and you haven't officially recruited the girl to your party yet, have you? Then, why can't I interfere? My party is stronger than yours. It's convenient for me to do so, isn't it? Oh? You think you're better than us? Of course I do. Want to give it a try? Yes, I am. That's just great. I'm going to make you regret your cheeky talk. What? Shut up, I'm going to do it. The men clenched their fists and struck at him. It was a forceful, linear movement. It's no match for me. Paul lightly twisted his body to avoid the attack and countered by slamming his fists into the man's unguarded abdomen. With a fluid step, he then delivered a powerful kick to the side of the man's head. Paul then followed up on the fallen men with another blow. What's the matter? Is that how it's going to be? What the hell is this? Oh, I remember. This is the guy from the Fangs. It was a one-sided beatdown. He beat up all the men like twisting a baby's hand, while no one tried to stop Paul. Please, no more. Oops. Zenith jumped at Paul and grabbed his upraised arm. She did not have the strength to stop Paul's arm. He stopped moving it, careful not to shake her off, and came face to face with Zenith. Haven't you had enough? This is just bullying the weak. Are you defending these guys? Somehow, this was not funny. Paul wrinkled his brow. Of course. What the hell are you doing, showing up out of nowhere? And why isn't there anyone stopping you? They can't just stand there and watch. Oh, she's so pure. Zenith is so pure. Again, it makes sense. She was literally locked up in that house, given everything. She doesn't know the outside world. This girl thinks all these guys are doing her nice, and then suddenly this mean guy shows up and starts beating up everybody. Well, there's no doubt about it that he's Paul, the Fangs, the Black Wolf. He's a monster. I can't do this. Eh? The men got up so angrily that it was hard to believe that their bodies were in tatters and ran away at once. Zenith, who was left on the spot, widened her eyes in dismay. Fangs the Black Wolf? Is that you? Yeah, I'm Paul, the leader. I've heard rumors. No wonder no one's trying to stop you. Well, no one wants to get hurt by getting involved with someone else unrelated. Adventurers need more than a sense of justice. Anyways, that's settled. You're going to join our party. Just, okay, she's like, what, can I have a say in this? What are you doing? Just as Zenith was about to retort, the guild officials got off their butts and began to take control of the situation. Wait, I'm still not done talking. Later, Elise, watch out for this girl. Looks like it can't be helped. I hope that you'll get it done and get back soon. Paul replied with a short right and went to the back room with a guild official. It's like this whole thing breaks down and then everybody's gone and then finally somebody walks in the room to go take Paul to the back or something. When Elise, who was left behind, looked at Zenith, she looked as if she was not satisfied. Why are you looking so glum, my dear? You were just saved by him. What do you mean he saved me? He suddenly appeared and suddenly went berserk. What on earth do you mean by that? That was like... You mean to say that he looks like a thug? Yeah. Elise sighed in disgust. You don't understand anything, do you? If you had just gone along with him like that, who knows what might have happened? You have been paid an unfairly low price for what you did. It's not only that. You might have been used as a shield for monsters under the guise of friendly competition and training. Huh? Or you may have been forced to use magic endlessly until you fainted. Or to be more precise, you are a beautiful girl. It is conceivable that you have been asked to use your body, or even if you refused, you could have been forced to do so. Damn, Elise is just going right down the dark... Well, again, why does Elise know all this? Why does Elise know all this? No way. That's not... There's no way, is there, right? Zenith's common sense told her that it was unthinkable. Elise shrugged her shoulders. As she was upset, the action alone conveyed a response without words. Well, Paul himself is not a good man, but he would not cheat or exploit a newcomer. He's not a man who would think of petty things like that. He could be violent and hot-headed, but he is a man with a big heart, a man you can count on. Zenith had nothing more to say. Elise said nothing more, and they waited for Paul to return. When Paul returned, Elise said, I'm going to go tell the others about the newcomer, and left the guild. The most interesting thing about this whole bit here, to kind of point out, sort of piggybacking off of earlier, is they were obviously pointing out that this is the moment where there seems to be some sort of fallout happening between Elise and Paul at the party. Geese is saying, dude, you got to stop. You're doing this thing with Ghislaine. You're also doing it with Elise. There's a little bit of a talk of friction happening. There's a friction being developed here. You're causing problems, dude. You gotta keep it in your pants. So it's sort of implying here there may be a little bit of conflict happening with Elise. Again, kind of building into what we sort of see will develop over time, where Elise doesn't ever want to see Paul again. Is never going to forgive him for what he did. Yes, a lot of that has to do with the feeling that he may have caused the party to fall apart by getting with Zenith. But right here, even though it does seem like there's sort of a little bit of a conflict that's happening in the party, Elise is coming forward and saying, yeah, he's violent. Yeah, he does all this stuff, but he would never do something like that to a newcomer. Again, we do sort of see that Paul has this mindset that when he first became an adventurer, this is what he wanted to do to become free. But as he was getting his first runs, and again, where he first meets Elise and Talhan and Geese and all that kind of stuff, we build into this Lord of Judgment group that would, take advantage of those that are below him. He hates that. It's the aristocracy again. The guild itself has this rank system, and it almost feels like they are noblemen. The S ranks are above the A ranks. The A ranks are above the B ranks. It's nobility. It's just like nobility. And those that are higher will take advantage of those who are lower. And right here, it's putting aside, he sees Zenith and goes, doki doki. But when he steps forward, there is an element that Elise is saying here where he's not going to let a newcomer be taken advantage of. He's going to step forward. Yeah, he's a dirtbag. Yeah, he's violent. Yeah, he's hot-headed. But he will protect newcomers. He'll protect you. Why? They were alone, and Zenith was the first to open her mouth. Why did you invite me to join the Fangs of the Black Wolf? I'm still a D-rank rookie adventurer, and yet... Yeah, that's that. As I said before, we don't have a healer. The best way to do this is to get a good, strong, and reliable team. That's why I saved you. Paul, while saying the reason, somehow felt that it was not the only reason, but he himself was not sure of his true feelings. Yes, but it's still a burden. Maybe now, but I hope you'll be able to play an active role sooner or later. I like it. It's almost giving an impression here where Paul stepped forward there, again, because he had a feeling that he's never experienced for. Again, we're kind of, with the previous chapters, it was developing this idea of like, I have everything, but I feel like I'm missing something. Again, true love. He's missing true love. And sure enough, this group kind of splits a little bit, and suddenly he sees this woman and something hits him. Something I've never experienced before. Love. And now right here, it's almost as if he's trying to give an excuse. Yeah, it's because we need a healer.
He doesn't know what it is. I must have stepped forward because of we need a healer, right? It wasn't this feeling that I don't know what it is. It's almost like he's trying to explain it to himself. Maybe now, but I hope you'll be able to play an active role sooner or later. I think it would be a waste to refuse. If you want to be a full-fledged adventurer, you know that joining us is the best way. That's Fangs the Black Wolf. Doesn't have a healer. If we want to be better than we are now, we need a healer. If you want to be part of this, I will never make you regret it. So please join us. Paul and Zenith's gazes never left each other. They looked at each other for a while, and then she nodded her head softly, as if she made up her mind. Okay, I guess it's settled. Please take care of me from now on. No need to be formal. I'll introduce you to my friends. Let's get going. Yeah. She grabbed Zenith's hand and started to run. She was so startled that she almost stumbled. But Paul took her by the hand, and they ran out of the guild. Aw, little lovebirds. Cute little lovebirds. Chapter 3. During this day at the Kingdom of Sanakia, the Fangs of the Black Wolf, who gathered on the second floor of the tavern, not far from the guild. Most of the time, however, they were not all together. Geese was often gambling, and Elise was staying at an inn with a man. But on that day, unusually, all the members were there. They got a new member to come in. We've already discussed all the details. Oh, I see. Then I hope you don't mind if I don't muddle through. Let me introduce you to Zenith. I'm Zenith. Nice to meet you. Don't be so nervous. Talk normally. I told you not to be so formal. Yeah, you're right. I hear she's a healer. Yes, we haven't had one on our team before, but it's a role that we're going to need in the future. The feeling of introducing Zenith was not so bad, probably because Elise had explained the situation to them. Again, Elise in a way is trying to be a wingman, take care of the situation, take care of the deer. There was a sense there with the original series that Elise was trying to take care of Zenith too, so it wasn't just Paul. There was a side that she wanted to take care of her too, was trying to protect her. My rank as an adventurer is still low, but I'll try my hardest to catch up soon. I understand your enthusiasm, but what about your rank? You ain't getting in with us right now, are you? Yeah, Zenith is D rank, so that means that she'll be apprentice until her rank is increased. Yeah, I wasn't really sure about that. I think they did kind of get a little bit into the idea that you have to be somewhat equal rank, and a lot of that has to do, I think, with the idea that you can't really take on higher quests and whatnot. But I don't know if they ever really discussed the idea of having an apprentice to a group before they can finally join, which would make sense for things like, again, like what they were getting around with Soldat and his guild, and the idea that we're bringing in apprentices and whatnot, and they were building these people up because they would have conflicts that would happen and groups would fall apart. So, after you officially join the party, the rewards are going to be divided equally. So, there's no such thing as less because you're new. Equal pay? That's not right. Zenith raised her voice with a huff at the condition in which she had never heard before. I know exactly what I'm capable of. I can't possibly work hard enough to get into an A-rank party and get paid equal amount. There's like a bit here where I kind of see where she's getting this conclusion again, because she's kind of been seemingly taken advantage of by other groups. But a lot of that could be the idea that it is pressed upon her logic thinking that is unequal. What I mean by is that people tell her you don't get paid as much because you don't contribute enough. And that would be a logical sound conclusion to go, oh yeah, you're right. I mean, that makes sense. I didn't do as much as I think I could have done, so that's I shouldn't get equal pay. But Paul's mindset has always been equal pay. Again, with Geese, 7-3. Nope, 5-5. Although Paul's words were a good deal for Zenith, for the rest of the members, it meant reducing the share. When Zenith shook her head in outrage, the response from the Fangs of the Black Wolf was a simple one. Equal shares is fine, because the order in which you enter has nothing to do with the amount that you're rewarded. So Ghislaine has her own little logic there.
That's right. By that logic, me and Talhan would get the most. But that ain't the case.
Fangs of the Black Wolf is consistent. After Zenith officially joins, that's fine. What? So easily? And you guys don't mind if I join? She must have thought that the A-rank party was a bit of a high threshold. Zenith's eyes were about to pop out of their head.
The leader brought you here. You shouldn't have any complaints. You should work hard so you can officially join.
Oh, dearie. I really don't like it at all. You're really acting like a senior?
What was that?
Guys, give it a rest. Geese intervened between the quarrelsome Elise and Talhan. Zenith's widened eyes fluttered as she looked at Paul next to her, at the sight of the Fangs of Black Wolf's daily routine. So this means... It means Zenith has been accepted. So, Zenith, you're going to take a lot of requests from now on, and you're going to get promoted quickly. Of course, I'll help you, and you'll be a B rank in no time. Paul's not the only one. We'll help you too. Oh, Ghislaine. They all love Zenith. They all love Zenith in the end. Yes, Zenith is still inexperienced, and I will teach you the basics of being an adventurer. Men with no delicacy will not be able to pay attention to those details. Thank you. Don't worry about it. Paul smiled and nodded happily as he saw Zenith getting to know his friends. At this rate, they'll get to know each other even better by the time she officially joined.
Hey, get over here a minute.
As he watched the ladies cackle and talk, he was unexpectedly tapped on the shoulder by Geese. Geese is like, don't bang her. He gestured Paul to the corner to get away a bit. What is it?
Just lower your voice a little bit.
What? Is this a private conversation? I want to have some sexy secret talk with a pretty girl, not you.
Don't be silly. I'm serious.
Geese kept his voice down and turned a serious expression towards Paul.
I'm not against letting her in. She seems like a nice girl.
What do you mean?
It's your timing.
What?
Is it safe to bring in another girl in this place where you have such a relationship with your party mates? Ghislaine? Elise?
It doesn't take long for Geese to get the idea of what is worrying him across. Paul knows how sharp he is. You're telling me I shouldn't mess with Zenith too?
The question isn't whether or not you're going to touch her. It's whether or not the Fangs of the Black Wolf is going to be okay after you make your move. What if the relationship between your companions gets strained and things don't work out?
The hell? You don't have faith in me? No. They're totally playing this out like Geese is basically begging him not to mess up the party. And he does it anyways.
I have no faith in you when it comes to women.
You son of a... Paul's mouth tightened at Geese's blunt statement, but he didn't have the grounds to deny it.
Well, no matter what I tell you, that you're too liberal when it comes to your lower half of your body. When it comes to that girl, that's what's going to happen. No. Don't say anything.
Geese put his hand on Paul's shoulder.
Just remember what I said. Even if it's just in the corner of your head, don't mess with me.
If that were to happen, it would suck to have Geese flickering in the corner of his head. Paul shook his head. Okay, I just got what he's... I literally just got what it meant there.
Just when it happens, make sure I'm in your head when you're doing it.
That way it screws with you. Whatever happens with me and Zenith, Paul thought, of course, the Fangs of the Black Wolves will be fine. No, you're gonna ruin it. You're gonna disband the whole party, dude. It's gonna break up because of you. I had no problem with screwing Elise and Ghislaine, so how could it be awkward? What the hell does this guy even think I am, anyways? After that, the members of the Fangs of the Black Wolf, with Paul in the center, began to actively help Zenith with requests he had accepted. And that's that. I think I'm gonna call it there. I think next week might be a little bit longer than usual. I guess it depends on what we end up running into, because the amount of like pages left is gonna be like a little bit over what typically is for these recordings. But it's of course gonna come down to if there's anything to really discuss. I was actually surprised how much we actually had to discuss in this episode. Yes, a lot of it was to do with Amaranth. It had to do with Amaranth. His final words. I think that was a massive gut punch that I wasn't really expecting. But some other good stuff in here as well, really around Paul and his moving forward and finding a place of comfort. And again, what that means to him possibly losing it once he gets to know Zenith. And again, decides to actually settle down with her. But good stuff. Good Mushoku Monday. Really enjoyed this one. But I hope you guys enjoyed this Mushoku Monday as always. Greatly appreciate you guys for dropping by. I hope you guys enjoyed it as always. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday. But greatly appreciate your guys' kind words, all your support. Hitting the like button. For all you babakas that don't hit the like button down there before you leave, babaka, it's not like I want you to hit it or anything. Greatly appreciate it. And yes, as per usual, greatly appreciate everybody that supports channel monetarily through Patreon, tips, links, super thanks, memberships, all that stuff. It means a great deal to me. But until the next Mushoku Monday, you'll take care. I think there really is a side of it, and again, it kind of gave that impression with the novel series that Ellen Lace was trying to look after Zenith as well. That Ellen Lace was trying, and it kind of, there was a sense, and they had it in the original series too, was that there was a sense there that Ellen Lace was trying to take care of Andrew. Yes, with the others of the mansion and Pal Samama, with the others in the mansion and Pal Saman. Yes, with the others of the mansion and Palman Saman. I hate Palman Sama, and ask them to act as intermediaries, and ask them to act as intermediaries, and ask them to act as intermediary, and ask them to act as intermediary, and ask them to act as intermediaries, grim and indignant, grim and indignant, grim and indignant. Paul was inwardly impressed by the beautiful swordsmanship. Paul was inwardly. The members' stunned gazes stung. The members.
Oh, don't tell me Ghislaine has taken on every monster that came to her. Don't tell me Ghislaine has taken out every